Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
A good Monday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout, which is presented by Two Hoots Hard Iced Tea, a Boulder Real Brew Tea. Don't give a hoot, give two. We're live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, iHeartRadio, tune as well as those watching on YouTube. Anyone who's here for the first time as I read that always gives it a little chuckle. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with you here. Murray McCourt from the VIP Golf Show alongside as well. Back on the Hangout. It is Scott Laurie, Redbeard. Welcome back to the Hangout.
Thanks, Ed. I was saying it's weird being in here on a Monday. Usually at this point I've had a couple of beverages to start the day, so it's definitely different. I had at some point. Yes, I will have a two.
All right. Let us know when. I'll get the boys to bring in a glass for you, and you can jump in on two. It's chilled. I keep it in the fridge. Overnight. Comes up to the Hangout for the show, and then it goes back in the fridge. So,
I didn't know you did that.
That's not just going to sit at room temperature.
Hospitality.
And the way you're pouring it, that box looks almost empty. You got a backup box?
Got quite a bit in. We got two more boxes.
Okay.
It's amazing how much they fill in those, like fit in those little bladders. But
I did this on Friday just to look. So for those on YouTube, they'll be able to see it.
You and Stalker should dabble in that in the mornings. I know 8 a.m. is a little... look at that.
Now,
we've still got quite a bit.
Oh, that is quite a bit. But you had to really tip that box.
I
remember I remember when we brought that in the first time, and it was Eric crushed one and then crushed the can, and it was like all of a sudden it was like that it became like the new favorite drink. It was crazy when it first came out.
It's very easy to drink.
It's quite dangerous. It's delicious.
You boys had them on Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, we did.
Gager was around. And we stuck around just chatting for a couple of hours.
That was fun.
The two Hoots were going down very easily.
Yeah, they were. Beautiful day that day. That was a good time.
It's the good season when the weather's good and it's.
It was my first sip of the day. It's just
I'm
happy.
Yeah.
Last week I gave you credit for that Two Hoots little chuckle that everyone gives. I thought you wrote that, but you said no, it's from the website. I'm like, you're not as brilliant as I thought.
No, I'm not that creative. I can never come up with that one. But it is one of my favorite things now to say is don't give a hoot, give two.
He is good. Not that good.
It's a great slogan.
I know my limitations there, Murray.
Yeah.
I'm not the most creative one when it comes to.
Well, we saw that with the keywords for that stretch there.
I want to know something. Some of those were great. Some of those
a couple. I'll give you
and
that.
some weren't words.
Yes, you're right, Jeff.
Nailed it.
But that's.
You're right on that one too.
Yeah.
Scott, you can leave now.
Scott, you
never
can
be
stay.
invited back. Yeah.
No, reminder, coming up on the Hangout today, we will have the VIP table qualifying for the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. We'll qualify somebody for the Friday show at the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, July 12th through the 14th, Kingsman Park. Tickets on sale, greatoutdoorscomedyfestival.com. The Friday show that we're qualifying people for. It's the second of 3 weeks we're qualifying people. Andrew Schultz and Shane Gillis, Alley Cat, the official beer of the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, which will feature the 6 o'clock lager, our first big event. So stay tuned for that. Let's just...
Is your mic okay?
My mic's not on?
No, people in the chat are saying that your mic's down low. I don't know if that's a true thing or if they're just trolling.
Well, is it just my mic or is it everyone's mic?
It says your mic.
Okay, well, Tommy, do you want to get into weather talk quickly?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, let's do it.
Sure, here we go. 780-218-9999. Nasty chat, do your thing as well. All right, boys. Murray, you said you stayed up way past your bedtime for that blankety blank.
Yeah, something like
First
that.
impressions from you on last night's game. Go for it.
All right. Hard work beats talent when talent isn't working.
Very true.
And, like someone needs to tell the bleepity bleep bleep Oilers that it's frickin' middle of May and it's playoff time.
Yep.
You look at I mean, this is far beyond just this game, but that first shift, what a great example. Vancouver Canucks come out ready to play. Mm-hmm. They put two guys into the 15th row of the stands with big, huge body checks. And what are the Oilers doing? Sitting around, floating around, doing nothing. No response to that. They're playing at home in front of 18,000 ruckus fans. Why aren't they the ones that are out there?
They should have been
Putting people in the 15th row. Like, oh my God, get some intensity, get some heart, get some pride, and frickin' show up to play. This is the playoffs, and they didn't. They didn't show up to play. I predicted last week that they were going to win in 5. They should be up 3-0, but they are not playing playoff hockey, and it's driving me nuts and it's pissing me off.
you among many, Murray.
Yeah.
I like that,
That's
Scott.
unbelievable.
What'd you say
I
last
mean,
night?
it's the same. Like I could see it near the end of the game when 5 guys had played half an hour, and then maybe they're not hitting because they're trying to score,
Sure.
all that kind of stuff. But the beginning of the game, you can't let Ekholm get steamrolled twice there,
Right.
Up and then down again, and everyone just kind of thinks they're gonna break out. Like go get that guy in the corner.
Yep.
And give him a hack, give him a punch, give him a glove, do something. And I think that was really evident. They weren't going to be in a hitting mood, and it's like I think it was one of the guys in the morning said it's like they don't know it's their job when it's everybody's job to hit. It's like they're waiting. It's like they're McLeod. Right. They're waiting on somebody else to go in and get them or go in and make that hit.
They should all be doing it.
They should all
Every
be-
shift, intensity. It's playoff time.
It's funny, and it's not funny actually for Oilers fans. Frustrating, and Murray, I think we're hearing that from your tone, obviously. But there was a point last night where we're up in the press box, and Belzy came to the game last night, and he goes, "Do you notice that every shift, every one of the Canucks, after the puck is moved on, they're doing something, a little bit of physical, just to let the Oilers know that they're there and that they're going to be on top of them. That's the entirety of the game, that there's a Canucks guy. He's not exactly blowing them up, but he's in your equipment. He's sticking you. He's giving you a quick shot to let you know he's there." And then he goes, "Tommy, what are the Oilers doing tonight?" I'm like, "Well, they're not doing that.
Yeah.
No.
Their TV turns, looping away."
Well, in
And,
fact-
and that wears on guys is when you know that the other team is going to be all over you and buzzing.
Yeah.
And it showed last night.
Well, in fact, it's quite the opposite. Besser, sitting in the slot, wide open, orders a pizza from the lobby, takes a couple bites, snipes home a goal
Yep.
where he should have had Sherwood tattooed in his back. And then when you're purposely falling on top of him and you're ramming his head into the ice, making him eat the snow. That's playoff hockey.
Sure. I
And
agree.
he sat there and ate a pizza and scored a goal and no one touched him. Like, holy, wake up.
2-topping pizza too. You got your
Maybe
mic
even-
back?
By the way, this the mic's working.
There we
I
go.
figured that out.
Nice.
This is the Hangout Headlines, which is brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club, offering premier conditions, top-notch service, unmatched value, great choice for any golf round this season. Book your tee time visiting theranchgolf.com. Murray had a nice round yesterday outside of his putting, apparently. His putting, he can get fired up with that one after. You also fired up right now. Someone said, "You are so fired up, it's almost like you're talking about the Weather Network again." That's how where it is. Before we continue, I do want to just throw out this news from Elliot Friedman. Sounds like there'll be a hearing for Carson Soucy out of the end of game scrum in Edmonton last night. So
Geez, we
he's-
could talk about that too. Where's the response to that? Connor McDavid gets cross-check in the back, cross-check in the mouth. I mean, how that isn't a line brawl, I have no idea. I mean, guys should have been having their mitts off as they're steamrolling into that. Who cares how big Zadorov is? Who cares if you lose the fight? Show up.
Yep.
Show up and do something about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just disgusted.
That sums it up, Murray.
Yeah.
That skirmish or lack thereof at the end in terms of the intensity. Now, I know that the Oilers are banged up. I know I'm not using that as an excuse, but even still, most of these guys are nicked up, sure. You still got to stick up for yourself. You still have to stick up for the best player in the world. Do something.
Well, and it doesn't even. It maybe matters slightly more that it was Connor McDavid. But
Of course it
man,
does.
that's your teammate.
Yeah.
And this is a war. Vancouver's showing you that this is a war, and you're showing up with a. I don't know.
We're
What
playing
are you showing up
tiddlywinks.
with? Yeah.
You're skating off like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Game's
Like,
over.
Man.
Shoot.
Yeah. It was
Oh.
cast last night on the post game. He's like, I would have jumped off the bench.
Yep.
He's like, I would have come over the boards, taken the 1 game suspension, and gone after him. And then
Yep.
him and Belzy were both saying similar thoughts here. Someone's got to get in that guy, whether it's a stick if you're smaller than him.
Yep.
Maybe don't have to square off with him because he's he's a big dude. But
still do it. You show
can
up,
still
man.
hit him in the ankles. You
Yep.
can still hit him in the arm. You can still cross check him, right? Like,
Yep.
And they're just kind of, I don't really want to get in there.
Well,
Game's
Not
over.
engaging.
You know,
Not engaging.
Zadorov is not a good defenseman. Big, slow, but he's playing tough. He's playing physical. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. But, geez, there's this big sized defenseman on the Oilers named Vincent Desharnais. He should be watching that going, man, if he's doing that, I better be doing that.
Absolutely.
And he's like, how many hits did he have last night? How many
Well,
hits
there was
does he
a
have
lack
in
of
this series?
hits last night, top to bottom.
It just doesn't
Top to
make any
bottom.
sense. Like the top through bottom of the lineup, there is no playoff intensity, none.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. I don't understand it.
I mean, the good news is that it's only 2-1. They hit
Sure.
3 posts. They could have come away with that game.
Easy.
And
Playing like garbage, they could have won that game.
That's what I mean. Like that's the upside is
'Cause
that they're not near playing to their potential. And if Vancouver's doing everything, I think that they can do. Vancouver's playing really, really well.
Yeah.
And it's limiting the Oilers for sure. But the Oilers aren't putting their best foot forward, and they could have won that game. Even at the end, you're kind of still thinking, okay, they can still come out of this.
Absolutely.
So that's the real, and it is 2-1. I mean,
That's
It's
something
gonna be a
that's
long
being
series.
forgotten. It's only 2-1.
only 2-1.
The tone right now, and obviously it's the emotional high, is like it's over.
Yeah.
It's not. They're down 2 games to 1.
it's
You
far
regroup
from
for
over.
tomorrow. Simple as that. The Oilers shot themselves in the foot so many times yesterday. I think of the Fogle giveaway. They were their own worst enemy. The PK all of a sudden is unraveling. Right, it was perfect in that first round series. Starts out this series perfect in game 1. Gives one up in game 2. Yesterday it goes 1 for 3. Belzy was talking about the rotation and how it's slightly slow and how they're trying to force the Canucks to the outside. They penetrated the middle quite well and easily, and got the 2 goals on the power play. So there's a lot of things that need to be sharpened up, including physical play, goaltending, obviously. But just overall, team game, like it was not there. And they still, like you said, Scott, only lost 4-3.
yeah. But that's a positive in terms of they played so poorly and almost won it.
Yep.
Like a lot of those, if they had played their best game and lost 4-3, I think it's a different conversation.
Absolutely.
Right.
The Oilers are clearly a far superior team. They should and easily could be up 3-0 in this series if they were playing playoff hockey, and they're not. But talk about Fogle and his giveaway. How about that play and then Fogle giving Zadorov a shot when he put Kane on the bench, taking a dumb penalty? Like, how about next time you're on the ice, chip it into his corner and put him into the 15th row?
Absolutely.
You don't take a stupid penalty like that to offset the power play, the vaunted Oiler power play. What a terrible night for him.
The one replay there where they were showing Corey Perry on the bench, then they showed it close, and Corey Perry's like, "Don't touch him, leave him alone." Like, and he's like that's why we love Corey Perry on our team, is because he's the dirty guy, right?
Yeah.
And he's telling everybody, "Leave him alone, don't touch him, be smart here. We got to keep the power play." I think you can read his lips.
Yep.
It's our power play, and then Fogle gives him a shot, and you could just see him go like, "You guys don't know what you're doing."
It's
Like,
not a new rule.
Yeah.
It's been a
Like,
rule forever.
leave him alone.
You don't touch him.
Kane knows exactly what he's doing.
Yep.
Perry knows exactly what's happening. Like, those two are completely aligned.
Kane was smiling afterwards because I think he thought it was going to be a power play.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was chuckling and having a good time.
Yeah.
He just missed Fogle being silly, but
Trying to do too much.
Yep.
so frustrating. My goodness gracious! And this isn't even my Blackhawks.
I know.
My God, if this is my
not gonna-
Blackhawks, you should see what I'm like when my Blackhawks were in the playoffs.
It
My
is
God.
wild what a week makes because last week with the nasty chat and stuff, I was getting ripped for saying this is going to be a long series. Don't underestimate the Vancouver Canucks.
And
now we're sitting here and it's panic. Trade this team, blow it up.
Oh,
it's
they-
over.
they
The
hate
series
Stuart
is done.
Skinner so
Stuart
much,
Skinner, like
yeah.
it's just how things can change in 1 week. Like, this is who the Oilers sometimes are. They don't always put out their best foot forward. And
That's
then
why
the
it's
Canucks
frustrating.
are a good enough team that they will catch you on that.
They're consistent. The Canucks.
and-
You know what you're getting night in, night out for the most part.
And look, there's the 2 ways I could look at this for the Oilers right now. There's the good, which is this team could be up 3-0. If they show up in games 1 and 3, they win those hockey games. They could sit there and go, if we bring our game, we are still better than the Vancouver Canucks. We're winning these hockey games. The flip side to this, though, is I'm seeing a lot of similarities to round 2 last year against the Vegas Golden Knights right now.
Which they were leading in every single game. I think that's something that needs to be reminded.
And we could have said that they could have been up higher, more in that series, and they could have won more hockey games. But I'm seeing similar things. You can't be a one-line team again.
Yeah.
We went into these playoffs talking about the Oilers having all this depth. And last night you have Connor and Leon in a non-overtime game playing almost 30 minutes. You can't do that.
No.
Like, that's part of one of the reasons why I think Cass maybe brought it up, or maybe it was Belsey, that the scrum at the end of the game, that there wasn't one, was that the guys were on the ice for so long, they're gassed.
Right.
They didn't even have it in them to go fight just because they had nothing left in them. Like, you can't be a one-line team again, but they're back to being a one-line team. They're back to having goaltending that's not... Look, I'll say this. Stuart Skinner's not bad.
Nope.
But he hasn't been great.
No. Very fair.
He's got to make one of those saves. Like, you know, Seeloff's made a bunch of saves. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, how did he get that?
Yep.
Where did that? How did he keep that out, stretching across? And the one even better on the slot. I know it's a slot shot, and that there's got to be better on it, but just make that save. It's right under your glove.
Yep.
It's in a spot you should make. I think, you know, like
Scott, how about that second Lindholm goal, the one on the power play? Like, first of all, how did he get into the middle with the puck stuck to his his feet, and then he just kind of tries to shovel it and it goes underneath Skinner? That was the one to me where, like, listen, Besser's a good player, but you're right. Like, you do need a save on one of those shots. Kudos to Besser for getting an opportunity and being able to walk right in
and finish it.
and finish it, like you said. But then that Lindholm goal, where I was just like, how does that go in? The guy who's not very big playing the bumper role, which isn't always dangerous if you protect against it smartly, generally on a PK. He kind of like stumbled into the top of the crease and then like kind of just shoveled it and it goes underneath your goal. Like, how? Where was the defense on that? I think it was Ekholm on that play, kind of just backing in. And then the other thing too is Skinner is sitting there waiting. It went underneath him and it was from like 4 feet out. That was a brutal goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to be better. I can't see them making a switch, though. I mean, Stuart Skinner's your best goalie. He gives you your best chance to win. He's not maybe playing his best right now, but nobody in front of him is either. I mean, you talk about the open slot, the giveaway that ended up with the backdoor, and where was the D there? I mean, they were moving up in transition because Fogle had the puck, and then the giveaway, so that guy was behind the play. I get it, but my goodness, I mean, those 5 alarm chances, you just can't be giving those up. And yes, this third string goalie in Vancouver is making some saves, and that one on, I mean, 3 or 4 goal posts, which is kind of bad luck, but the guys got to bury those chances. Vancouver's burying their chances. And then that one, what did you guys think of that one where Sheloff's held Derek Ryan's stick?
That should have been a penalty.
And even like the replay, I'd be curious, your guys' opinion. I felt like maybe that probably went in the net, but you could never see it. You could never see it, so there's no proof of it going in the net. But
I don't think it did.
You don't
Personally,
think it did?
When they did this side angle on the goal line, as I watched it and we were watching up in the press box, I don't think that could have fully crossed the line. I don't think it fully got crossed. But that's going to just call into question. You're the NHL, get goal line technology.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They do like the tennis technology or the soccer technology.
That'll be something.
They do have RFID chips in the pucks now. They've had it for a couple of seasons, so you think you'd be able to figure something out. But
Somebody on Twitter joked that they'll mandate first that goalies have to wear white gloves.
But they all do.
See-through
But
gloves.
like I wasn't as black. I think Silovs is black. Like they'll do that before they get goal line technology to make it look a little better or something. But like there was no way that was getting overturned.
No.
Straight.
No, 100% not.
Yeah.
There was the one angle from the front that kind of they didn't show a ton on the TV. That kind of looked like it was in.
You saw, yeah.
Because
But
nothing
wrong
else
angle.
you could.
Like I said to my wife right away, I said, that's not the angle that can prove that that's in. But boy.
super close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little update on the hearings. Nikita Zadorov got $5,000 fine from the National Hockey League. Carson Soucy will have a hearing by phone later today for his cross-check on Connor McDavid.
He's going to get a game, I think.
I think so. Because the intent wasn't to give it to McDavid
hearing,
in
you're
the
not
face.
getting a fine after a hearing.
Yeah. No, I think that's going to be a suspension.
And they'll make it 1 because that, with their math, that's 2 regular season games.
Yeah, it's playoffs.
That's the NHL math.
I know. We're getting flashbacks to last year, right?
Well, that's how
Second
they'll
round,
go 1, and then in the NHL's mind, that's worth 2 regular season
Well.
games. So, and I don't think he deserves more than 1.
No.
Probably not. No, but the intent wasn't to give it to McDavid in the mouth / throat, but because of Zadorov's cross-check knocking McDavid down as Soucy was going for it, it made it that much worse. And it doesn't mean you can't take away from the eventual punishment. He still got him in the face. Like, that's a suspension.
Now, if they don't suspend him, though, oh boy, then this series is Army rules. Like, I mean, anything goes in this. Although the Oilers might
what are
not
they
show
gonna
up
do?
to do that,
Yeah, right.
but any other team would kill the other team.
I know,
mean,
but this is where now it's reminding me of Vegas series even more, is that Pietrangelo got his suspension or whatever, and then the Oilers focused too much on Pietrangelo for the next few games, and the Golden Knights took advantage by scoring goals and winning the hockey games. And if you go and he doesn't get a suspension, and what the Oilers, you say that for next year in the regular season to go after him.
Well,
Don't get off your game right now.
Yeah.
But that would be the fear they have if he doesn't get one, that it's just the Oilers are going to focus then maybe too much on that, and the Canucks will take advantage of that.
Use it as a whole and finish your checks. Play in Vancouver's equipment. Be pissed off because you got thrown around.
Show up and play playoff hockey and play with some intensity and play with some pride. Sacrifice your body and get out there and do what you need to do to win playoff games.
Yeah. A lot of donuts in the hit column for a lot of guys yesterday.
Well, and even like you said, it's like, every stoppage there's a Vancouver player right beside an Oiler in his gear.
Yep.
Talking in his ear, just bumping him, just being a pain in the butt when he's going back to the bench. And you see Perry doing it, and Perry's too slow to get into the positions he used to be, but he comes afterwards and he's in the goalie's face, and he's trying to do all those things. He's yapping and start with that. If you start with that before you have to go Army rules, like you're saying, and go crazy.
Perry needs to step it up, though. I think he's doing a little bit, but he's not doing it near enough either.
He just doesn't look like he's quick enough to get to where he needs to get to anymore.
I don't know.
That's fair. I mean, he's late 30s and
I love him on the team.
Smart player, but
he seems like he's talking to everybody on the bench. He's doing a lot of those things like that you want him to do. I'm sure he's probably a good guy in the room.
Yep. He's been a good ad.
But yeah, everyone's got to follow the lead. I thought Kane was pretty decent yesterday, especially in the first part of the game. Like he was shooting, he was doing some things out there. He had a post.
Yep.
Physicality of Kane though was lacking.
Physicality all around is lacking.
There was a moment
outside of
in the
sending
second
the
period.
bench.
He went to the locker room with the athletic therapist. It wasn't TD; it was one of the other guys, and so his sports hernia, athletic pubalgia. I love using that term. He's one of those guys, but again, he's capable. He can still be a dick on the ice, basically, and do stuff like that, getting guys equipment, be in their ear, yap away. But yeah, there was that one moment where he went off. He came back about 2 or 3 minutes later, but I was like, something's flaring up. That's not good.
But you don't go after Zadorov. I mean,
go hit Quinn Hughes.
Yeah. Quinn Hughes and Besser and Pettersson. Those are the guys you go after. You just go every time they touch the puck, like the same thing. 2 seconds after the puck, bury him. Like whatever.
JT Miller,
JT. How good is JT Miller playing? Holy, bring that intensity, Edmonton Oilers.
Yep.
Do what he's doing because it's allowed. I saw one thing on Twitter, guys. One little he was cross-checking a guy a few times, and I'm like, man, those aren't penalties. That's playoff hockey playing with some intensity. Oilers should be doing that too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way hockey's played at this time of year, and the Oilers aren't doing it.
This is the EST Hangout presented by Two Hoots Hard Ice Team out of Iwanyk. Tom Gazzola with here. Scott Laurie, McCourt also along for the ride. I know Dusty was in the nasty chat yesterday.
Yeah.
And he tweeted about Ryan McLeod and just not producing. And then I know a bunch of people came at Dusty saying overall the bottom six isn't producing, but Dusty's focused a little on Ryan McLeod. But where's the depth of this team? Like we came into this playoff saying this is the deepest Oilers team we've seen in years.
Yeah, it was. On
and
paper.
now again we're back to one line. Watching this team. It feels like.
Yeah. This, if we want to go into individual players, sure we can. I think we will. But this is the one time this year where I've actually, and I think it's been all 3 games, I've actually kind of looked at some of the decision-making by Chris Knobloch and the coaching staff, and I'm like, ooh, I'm not so sure about that move. The first was Janmark on the top line. That was a mistake. He stuck with it. Stacking up McDavid and Draisaitl worked in game 2. I asked someone from the team if it was more strategy or more injury for Draisaitl to be playing with McDavid to quote-unquote protect him. I was told it was more strategic than anything.
Well, if he's that banged up, you can't play him 30 minutes a night.
And that's the other thing is the amount that these guys are going out there. And Shoggy made a good point on his hit this morning. The other guys that are sitting around waiting, playing 6 minutes, 7 minutes, they're disengaged. They can't get into the flow of the game. They're not doing anything. And when they get out there, like, I'm cold.
They're cold.
What am I going to do?
Yeah. So to get to the guy in the corner to make that hit is harder to do, right?
You're playing catch up, basically.
You get down you give up 3 goals in the first period, though. You got to score some goals, and so you got to play those guys a little more. I mean, so show up from the beginning of the game.
Yep.
Don't give up 3 in the first period, and then you can get your whole team rolling a little bit more for sure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what changes they do. They need to change something. They need to do something different, right? Like just nothing drastic. But I think something they got to tweak something. I like the Carrick call, putting him. I think I wouldn't be so. I don't think it's the worst thing to have Skinner sit and watch this one.
Okay. He's
well, we're gonna get to it at some
now
point.
let's get. I was going to say who starts game 4.
I mean, this is again. We can go down the whole road of last year again and keep playing Skinner.
Yeah.
When he's just not quite. You don't know what you're going to get necessarily. He's a good goalie. Like Skinner's going to be really good. Like
It's second full year, second playoffs.
He's not
has to be remembered.
It's like let's not throw Skinner away.
He was good in the first round.
He was good in the first round, but would it be the worst thing for him to take a moment? And Pickard's played well.
Yeah.
Does it jazz the guys up to maybe play a little bit different in front of them?
I think it's too soon.
You think it's too soon? Because you could be down 3-1 after tomorrow night, right?
Absolutely,
Then it's
it
too
could
late.
be.
That's too late, right? Yeah.
Right, like
If people, I was told in Vegas how great Skinner was this regular season by Dusty when we were in that hotel room when he was yelling at me and I was saying Aiden. I didn't ever actually say the words Aiden Hill's Patrick Waugh. You have to wait and see the playoffs, but it's this season. I think he's 9-1 or 8-1 following a loss. Like the numbers
Bounce
are
back is good.
His bounce back's really good this season. I think you send a good message to Stuart Skinner to be like, we still believe in you as a team. You're still our guy. You are our number one. This isn't a 1A, 1B situation like Koskinen and Smith over the years. This is you're a legit number one, but you have the short leash. If you're Chris Knobloch, you're ready to pull him in the first period if you have to. Like in the second period if you have to. You don't give him the latitude to let if you feel that you're not seeing it, then you can make that switch a little quicker, and then you go to pick it for the next one. The Oilers going down 3-1, I still think they could win a series. It's not going to be easy. Again, based on games 1 and 3, this is a team that could be up 3-0. Now you could also argue that the Canucks could be up 3-0 in an argument too. This has been a tight series in that way. But I think they could potentially claw their way back from 3-1, so it's not completely over just yet. So I would go to my number one and say, it's your net. Prove it. But be prepared that we will go to Pickard if we have to, and then if it's 3-1, then it's Pickard's net moving forward for as long as the playoffs last for the Edmonton Oilers after that.
Well,
it could be a game, it could be a
make that
run.
change, it's not going to go that way.
You think Jack Campbell?
No,
or
it's still going to be Stu would go back in because Stu's your number one goalie. But
no Jack Campbell. I saw him last night in the press box.
Yeah, he played golf at the ranch the other day.
Nice.
So, the thing with Stu, as you guys know, I'm good buddies with Stu and whatnot. And what Stu told me last year after the playoffs is that he himself got very rattled by the fact that he kept getting pulled. And he needs to feel that the coach believes in him and trusts in him, and he didn't like the fact that they kept pulling him, and he needed to battle his way through it and different things. And so as a coach, you need to know your players and what motivates them. And he's your number one goalie, and if he truly knows Stu, he's got to go with Stu because he's your number one goalie. And if you don't, I mean, man, goalies can be a different breed. We all know that, and you can't mess with this confidence like that. That's who Stu is, and Stu is your best goalie. You got to go. He's got to play.
But you also can't give him a long leash in that game. You can't, because if you get down 2-0 through the first period and he's playing poor, he lets in 2 bad goals.
Sure.
You can't afford the rest of that game.
If they're 2 bad goals, now again, you go back to and Tommy will say this too. You look in that first period, which goals in the first period were bad goals? I mean, you leave Brock Besser open in the slot for 8 seconds. What Edmonton Oilers has been open in the slot for 8 seconds? I mean, that's just garbage D zone coverage, the giveaway by Fogle. I mean, you can't blame Stuart Skinner for Fogle giving that puck away. I mean, those are grade A chances that goalies can't necessarily always stop. Yes, you need him and want him to step up and make a big save, like you were saying earlier, and he didn't. Yeah. And yes, I'm buddies with him, and I wish he would have made a big save in those moments. But I also wish the D zone would have been there, and I also wish guys would have buried their chances when they were hitting posts and things like that. I mean, it's a snowball of effects. There's not one person that's at fault for for this loss. The team
sure.
did not show up from the opening whistle and play the way they needed to play hockey to win a playoff game against a decent hockey club. So, I mean, it's on everybody.
Cass calls it compounding mistakes, and they had that in the first period. And then I'll point out another goal because I know we keep talking, rightly so, about the Fogle giveaway, which was atrocious. Duh, obviously. But there was one other thing that happened in busted coverage on another one of the Canucks goals in the first period. Draisaitl is looking around, shoulder checking, not picking up his guy in front. McDavid and Ekholm both went to the same guy in the corner, and that left the middle wide open. That was another one where you're just like, they are not dialed in. They've got their heads up. You know what?
They were real loose on that goal.
Very loose. That's a nice way to put it, Scott.
Bouchard had his guy in the front.
Yeah.
He looked like he had a pretty decent position.
Yep.
But Ekholm and McDavid kind of
they both followed,
went.
and Leon was caught looking
circled
around.
Back. Ekholm did a kind of a turn to come back to the middle.
Yep.
Instead of kind of more quicker
Coming back to the house
straight.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was just another one where I'm like, oh, that was bad. Now, okay, I have something on Skinner that I want to bring up because maybe that warning shot was him getting the pull in the third period last night. The other thing, too, is usually, and Shaggy did talk about this on the mandate earlier, but he usually comes out and he speaks. The Oilers said he was getting treatment. I don't know if it was him like not wanting to because he was so mad or if he was getting treatment. Because I wondered, too, like they're still in the game at that point. Was he playing great? No, obviously. But they were within a couple goals, right? So I'm curious to know, like, is he maybe nicked up? Or was that all more on the mental side of things where he just needed a break, let's call it, and didn't do the media, which he's supposed to, by the way. And that's why Shager brought it up, which was interesting how that unfolded yesterday.
What do you mean he's supposed to?
You're mandated to speak. If you're requested in the playoffs, especially, you're supposed to speak. And our local media contingent, as well as the people that have come in from out of other markets to cover this series, said they will wait for Stu Skinner to finish up treatment, and he was not made available. So, is he nicked up? Was he really getting treatment, or were they keeping him away to quote unquote protect him from the media yesterday? I'm not sure. Is that a sign that he's showing cracks mentally? I don't believe that necessarily. Just knowing him, and you know him, Murray, and he's generally pretty headstrong. So it's curious. And then them not starting him in the third period. What is going on here? I can't get a fine read on it.
You could see him being angry, for sure, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, maybe not one, but he's usually really good when he does talk. Mm-hmm. Very even keel,
positive.
Yeah. I'll learn a lesson. Like he says all those. You'd think after hearing him for the past, especially recently,
yep,
he would have been able to handle that media scrum. I think pretty easily. Yeah.
He's mature beyond his years. I mean, he's 25 going on 45. I mean, he's just an unbelievable guy and
likes
great
corduroy
head on his
pants,
shoulders, and
who doesn't?
Just a great guy.
Like I said, and I think that, and when I said that maybe he sits for a game, he is the long-term goalie of the Oilers. He really is. It's just it's to shake the rest of the guys up more than his play. It's almost like the beginning of the year when they were terrible, and it was just grade A chance after grade A chance, and he had no chance to maybe make 2-3 saves that were really, really good, but he had just the volume of grade A chances, and that's what last night seemed to be like, and that's the only reason I'd say to switch it up. It's to shake the team up a little bit.
Yeah,
I like the idea is Carrick in because he brings some physicality to the lineup, and you know what? I might bring in Mr. Gagner.
I said pregame yesterday I'd like to see him get into a playoff game. I mean, he's been an Oiler forever, although he had that nice journey to a few other destinations in between, and then he's never played a playoff game as an Oiler. I think he deserves to.
Is Gagner going to be worse than Ryan McLeod right now?
Well,
no.
And what's the harm for 6-8 minutes? And he's not playing like it's not like he's going to be playing 35 minutes at his age in the playoffs. But I agree. He could do something.
He can give you what Connor Brown has given you. Now, Connor Brown had one good shift yesterday, or a couple good shifts, but I think Sam Gagner can will his way through a game
and be involved
and do something. And he's the type of guy that he somehow finds ways to create moments. It's just he's one of those guys.
He would bring the energy. He would bring the intensity. I mean, he's not going to run guys over, but he's going to show up and play.
He's a gamer.
He's going to play. He's going to play
against
hard.
the Canucks where he scored 2 goals this year?
That was Dallas.
Was that Dallas?
They were losing
early or whatever, and like he went and like crashed the net right off the bat. And at the point when the Oilers were struggling this year, was like the first player to actually go do that.
Yeah, I think it was Dallas. They still lost that game. I think.
But maybe he'd be the guy that goes out there and just even for a game, just tries doing some things that we're not seeing from the majority of that team and fires up some guys.
And on the same thing you're saying with Stu getting a break, maybe Ryan McLeod sits in the stands and watches Sam Gagner go out and bring some intensity and maybe bump a guy or two and whatnot. And then Ryan goes, oh, that's how I need to be playing. Okay. Yeah.
So Oilers, they practice at noon today. Game tomorrow.
No practice, just the meeting.
Oh, is that just meeting?
They're having a meeting at noon, and that's the schedule we're working off of. So no skate, which is interesting as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I read that wrong last night.
The off days have been the practices. They've been 15, 20 minutes, very efficient. Do a couple things, boom, boom, get off the ice, media, and then rest up. And then they texted us last night and said just players meeting at noon. That's the schedule they're working off of. So that was interesting.
GCLT's Ulster pregame show tomorrow. Do we actually know the game time for tomorrow? Did that get
It's
announced?
still TBD.
That's still TBD?
Mm-hmm.
Last
Is that to hide maybe some of the nicks and scratches they have? So that, if 4 or 5 guys aren't on the ice for the practice, then people start
7:30
talking?
tomorrow, according to ESPN, by the way. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's all good. Or no?
I don't
No?
think so because like for the majority of these skates, pretty much everybody's been out there. There's been a few where the guys who have like Draisaitl not skating in the day between. No surprise, Henrique is another one.
Right.
I think there's been a skate or two where it's been a full team practice, but like Evander Kane hasn't been out there. So I don't know if they're necessarily hiding. And again, they're not going into like super long skates. No. It's really quick flow, a couple things that they work on, and boom, they're off the ice. So.
Who would have thought that Henrique being out of the lineup is kind of impactful? I think that's.
Well, to a degree, it better be because they gave up a first-round pick for him. So
he's a good
better
player.
be a player that is brought in that is going to do things, and this injury is playing into that.
Not that he's the one that if he was in the lineup, it would be everything, but it just kind of he's a good top 6 guy that does a lot of things well.
Versatile, right?
PK, power play.
Absolutely.
Power play too.
Yeah.
And
veteran.
GCLT's, by the way, the pregame show then will be 6 o'clock tomorrow. Tom, you'll be at Hudson's White Ave. For game for tomorrow. But okay, so now there's no practice day, so we won't know until maybe a little bit tomorrow. But legitimately, what changes do you think Chris Knobloch's going to make to this team? I would think one that I don't think we will see the goaltending one. I personally don't. I'd be shocked. I would be intrigued though. Does he spit up McDavid and Draisaitl? Like that would be the one change I'm looking at. Like we can talk about the bottom 6, and the depth needs to be there, and it does. But like Tommy's saying, it's not injury related, it's strategic that the two are together. Well, then I think strategically you got to separate them and break up those minutes and try to build 2 lines again as opposed to loading up one. I think that's the biggest change I want to see for tomorrow.
And put them together in moments later in the game where you need to go nuclear.
The beautiful part
if
of
you're
hockey,
behind by a goal. Yeah.
You could change it up on the fly.
Right.
So if you could go to it for a few shifts and then break it up again, it's not set in stone.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to try to start the game with those away from each other. I would say those two away from each other outside the power play.
100% on board with that one.
There's one guy I could think of just on his jump and play in the last couple games that I would elevate, and that's Dylan Holloway right now.
I knew that's where you're going.
Yeah.
I agree.
So to add to the top 6 and maybe fill in for like a Henrique, that's the one guy where you're like, I think there's a little bit of spark there. Let's see. I mean, at this point,
Why not?
yeah, exactly. But yeah, McLeod, passenger. Vogel, passenger, dragging you behind yesterday for sure. 4th line barely played, although they had some moments like Ryan when I wish he could have just shoveled that in or just plowed instead of like trying to, kind of wrangle the puck and then Shilovs grabs his stick. Yeah, it's interesting how that all devolved yesterday.
I wonder if you split the McDavid and Draisaitl up, it gets more guys playing time. It gets more guys involved for longer.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so they're not sitting on the bench for extended periods of time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Fogle and Derek Ryan would complain about it. I mean, or not complain, but they voiced their opinion on it when they were sitting for extended periods of time. I think between Tippett and Woodcroft. When Woodcroft started rolling more 3-4 lines solidly, like or consistently, you heard Fogle and especially Derek Ryan talking about, oh well, I feel like I'm in the game now. We're kind of right now in a moment where it's like, hey, these guys are kind of sitting around a lot, not doing much. Anyway,
Murray, what changes?
Well, I mean, I said I absolutely am splitting Dry and McDavid up.
Is that good enough? If that's all he
Well,
does?
No, because I'm also bringing in Carrick. I'm also bringing in Gagne, and I'm sitting McLeod for sure. And I'm hoping Henry can come back and play. I mean, that's 3 guys you're bringing back in, bringing into the lineup. So you're changing some things up. You're giving a little bit of a different dynamic. But if I'm the coach, and I know Knobloch's not a yeller, and maybe I wouldn't be yelling and screaming about it, but I'd be like, listen, guys. This is the effing playoffs.
Yeah.
And I would be imploring these guys to play with the heart, pride, and sacrifice, and get out there and do it because, man, this is the playoffs. This is what you play all year to get to. The regular season didn't matter, right?
Nope.
Because of this. So this is the time. Step up and do what you need to do.
I will say this about the team. It's about time someone just comes out and blasts the league or the refs for a bit. Not saying the refs are completely the problem or not, but you saw the Vancouver Canucks do it
well,
to a degree.
Rick Tocchet's been working the refs the entire series before the series even started.
We've never seen the Oilers organization do that. There comes a point where I think either Knobloch or Holland needs to just go find the microphones and blast and play that game themselves.
Yeah.
Because it worked a bit for the Vancouver Canucks yesterday. You look right off the start of that game. I don't know how many times in the first period and on that first power play, there was a couple of those. Lumber was in the cross-checked right on the back of Leon Draisaitl. I think in the first 5 minutes of the game, he's on the ice 4 different times.
Yeah.
Just completely down. No calls, nothing happening really with that. There comes a point now where you've got to play that game. You've got to go and try to work the refs through the media, just like the Vancouver Canucks have done here. And I'll go to basketball. It happened a couple years ago. 76ers Raptors. Joel Embiid was talking a lot. Then Nick Nurse started talking a lot, and they were going at each other with that stuff. I would love to see someone in the Oilers organization that is not the players. And again, so either Chris Knobloch, even though it doesn't seem like him, but you've got to do something different sometimes. Or it's got to be Ken Holland. I'd like to see them play that game, fight for that game, and try to change the tide a little bit with the officiating and stuff like that by doing that. Because it's happening the other way, and it kind of worked a little bit last night.
So I would argue against that you need to battle through that stuff. Refs are going to miss calls. Refs are going to refs are refs, but you got to battle through that stuff. But I would more implore to the team, they're playing with that intensity. They're doing that stuff, and we're not. So how about we step up and start giving the cross checks and playing physical and I mean,
but a flip side
it's
to that,
impactful on the series. Where's the other team out? I mean, you're chipping the puck in and you're going after those D-men and you're hammering them into the boards like Ekholm did on, in the first shift you were talking about. Like that wears guys down over a 7-game series, and the Oilers aren't doing it. They're not wearing them down.
flip side to that though is if Knobloch starts doing that, the players might, this guy's fighting for us. I might give that little extra here. That might be a little bit more patient. Maybe that's why the Canucks are really playing for Rick Tocchet. Is that this is a guy that's got us. Like, look, he's trying to change the series in one way. We're going to go help him another way too. And just any little thing helps. I don't think it hurts this team for them to play this game that the Vancouver Canucks have started.
So if I
Don't
was
play
Chris
the good
Knobloch last
game.
night,
Don't be the good guys.
at the end of the game when they went after Connor McDavid with those cross checks, I would have been at the glass crawling over it to get at Rick Tocchet, and Rick Tocchet would kick the crap out of Chris Knobloch. But that's
be
where
worth it.
that's where
Valid.
I'm fighting for my team.
It would be worth it.
Is F you, Rick Tocchet. I'm fighting your coach.
Yeah.
I'm standing up for my team. I'm going after your coach. You mess around with my best players, I'm going to kill you. And if Brent Smith is listening, remember that my hockey player Brent Smith, that defenseman. I don't know if he's listening, but chime on in. He'll tell you back when in my hockey team when he was playing, I would get awfully darn fired up, and those boys knew my intensity level, and they brought the intensity that I brought, and that's where Chris Knobloch just sitting there. Do something. I don't think it's to be at the refs, but he needs to bring a little intensity behind that bench to help get those players going too.
You're bringing up the intensity right now. I can see it. I can feel it. It's permeating. It's permeating, Murray. The Oilers themselves, the players, have a bit of a reputation for being squeaky wheels, so they get the grease. I know a guy from one of the teams that played them in the playoffs recently, I believe, called them a bunch of whiny expletives last year. But it's different when coach management does it in the media as opposed to guys whining and complaining to the refs on the ice. It's totally different. It's strategic. And you're right. Like the Canucks have been doing it. Rick Tocchet's done a good job with it, and the Oilers have kind of stood by and been like, "Oh, okay." And the officiating's bad across the board in every series.
The players don't know what to do.
Right. I think DJ Bean was the guy that tweeted yesterday going, imagine watching this game and realizing it's the second or the best officiated game of the night for the NHL.
Which is brutal.
Boston, Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boston, Florida yesterday?
Yeah, Boston, Florida. I just want to bring up one thing that I get so annoyed by. How many times do we have to sit there and wait for a puck to be dropped when they're sitting there like this and then they like wave the guys out? I remember later in the regular season, at one point, the back linesman threw a guy out and delayed the dropping of the puck. I'm like, these guys are so freaking annoying. That's just my gripe for today.
So I didn't play hockey. I can't skate, and it drives me crazy too. Watching like why is he getting thrown out right now? Like I know there's a cadence of somebody like but it's like just if the guy's not ready, drop the puck.
Yeah.
If just say don't do that, fix it, drop the puck. Like there's got to be a better way than it seems arbitrarily throwing guys out in some scenarios and not in other scenarios because it doesn't look any different.
Well, you got guys encroaching in the circle they're not supposed to. Guys not on their side of the hash marks, but guys that are actually taking the job. One guy, the away player, not putting his stick down first. Like it's those stupid little things. One guy jumping the gun, throw him out because you're sitting there waiting, and so like all those little technical things. If they want the perfect face off, they're throwing guys out all the time. Whereas before, Scott, they know guys were leaning in. They know guys were battling on the hash marks, sticking each other. They know one guy's getting lower than the other, putting his stick down just ahead of the other guy, and they would just drop the puck. Now it's like, no, you can't. No, please don't do that. Okay, you're going to have to go up. No, yeah, sorry, no. It's just so annoying. I get so put off by it. Anyway, that's my vent session for today on the officials. Drop the damn puck. Just shut up and drop the puck.
Yeah, let the players play.
They don't want to be your friend. They want to be friends with the players. They want to, I'm cool, I'm a ref. You're a dork. Just drop the damn puck.
2 comments in the nasty chat. Smitty the welder, so maybe this is...
Yeah, that's him.
100% Murray was intense. And then Vanier Mretsky. Stauffer called out Holland for not playing the game talk it is. So Staff, I guess, going up for Holland for that one. I would just really like someone for the Oilers organization to do it for once. I'm tired of trying to play it the right way and doing things the right way and gamesmanship, baby.
Yeah.
Get out there and try to turn this in the media some way. Put the pressure on the ref staff because we know how good the Oilers are on the power play.
I wonder if they're scared it's going to have the opposite effect though, and then because the power play is so dominant that when that if they start complaining about it, it goes the opposite way and they get less calls. I don't know.
But that is a risk you're going to take with that. Yeah. But when you got the other coach doing it, and
seems to be working.
It worked a little bit last night for them. I think you got to try to bring it back. And you want to know something? If you say something and it gets still bad, you blast it again.
Yeah.
Yep.
You blast it. See, look, it's what did I say last game? Oh, they're calling bad penalties or missing things and point out this, and this and blast them again. Put them on blast again. And I don't know, sometimes that does work too because the refs don't want to be blasted. So try to turn. We've all seen in sports enough that teams call it out, and often it can have a really good effect. And so it'd be nice for the Oilers once in this franchise's time to stand up and be the team that's willing to be like, yeah, you could hate us for what we're saying, but we'll whine, we'll complain, we'll get out there and see if it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have the opposite effect too. Refs get pissed off and call more penalties on you. I don't know.
They have feelings.
You go the NBA route.
Exactly.
What they say, they sent in a clip of 78 fouls.
Pacers to the Knicks.
Pacers to the Knicks, yeah.
You want to Pacers won the last 2 games, right? It might have worked for them too. I didn't watch those games close enough.
It might have worked.
They might have helped them, so go for it.
Yeah.
What could go they might call more penalties on you, but they're already calling being very inconsistent. So doesn't really change to me that much.
Inconsistency's the key thing.
Very much so.
Across the board in the
The
series.
players
Yeah.
don't know. I think that's why you see so many like players going and talking to the refs at like TV timeouts and things. Like what's the call there? Why
Yeah.
wasn't that called? It's like they have no idea what they can and can't do. It's strange how it changed.
Yeah.
It drops off.
It was funny seeing that Kelly Sutherland was calling the second game of this series, and Canucks fans were losing their mind. He's their Steve Kazari because the Oilers fans hate Steve Kazari, and so it was kind of neat to see. I'm like, oh, they've got one of those too, huh? And they
Yeah, but
bitched
they
and
had the good
moaned.
ref yesterday for them.
It was who was
I
it
got to
yesterday?
find where it is for the Canucks.
Didn't they? Did it used to be the ref like the officials would stay with the series?
That's what I always thought.
Like did that
I think
change
there
at some
was
point?
a time.
There was a point where the officials would be assigned to a series,
And
and
they
they'd
do
do
the
the
whole
series.
series.
Oof. That could be good or bad.
Yeah.
But that's
I think
Yeah.
that's
I think you
great
create consistency then at least.
because every ref's going to be different. Every crew's going to be different. And one game they might call a little more ticky-tacky penalties.
Yeah.
Another one might be let them play. And if you don't know what it is going to be game to game,
Yeah.
I don't mind the idea of this is the series. This is the two teams are playing each other. Let's keep the refs the same too. By the way, so Chris Rooney, and Graham Skilleter.
Yeah.
The Canucks have not lost a game in regulation under Rooney for the past 3 seasons going. Now it's 11-0-1.
I love these
So-
deep dives.
Yeah.
When it comes to Chris Rooney, the Canucks are now 11-0-1 when it comes to him reffing their games of the last 3 seasons.
Ref jerseys, Rooney jerseys being sold in the team store.
Hey now,
boy.
go ahead, Ver.
I was just gonna say some of the penalties, like the one that hasn't got mentioned that I really thought was the crazy one. If we're going down the ref rabbit, you remember when Draisaitl got that interference penalty in the first period, and he goes, "What? Who me?" He got interference. I didn't even think he touched the guy. I think the guy just he was kind of skating by, and the guy fell over.
Yeah.
I don't think Draisaitl even touched him. So I kind of get that. Draisaitl's like, "Who me? Like, what are you even talking about? I didn't even touch that guy." But I should have maybe been a embellishment penalty on Vancouver and not on Draisaitl. But I mean, whatever. You can't. The refs are the refs. It is what it is.
Yeah, we can get our big board with the yarn and do all the lines and the conspiracies like Charlie Day and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Talk about Pepe Silvia.
If this was Vancouver sports talk, they'd probably say, "Yeah, what about this penalty that they missed in the Oilers?"
They're definitely saying that.
Yeah.
So you know what? The refs are the refs. It is what it is. Battle through that stuff.
It's still fun to make fun of them.
Well, okay.
In the end, the Oilers are not down 2-1, I think, number one because of officiating.
No.
It's on the
No.
list. Like, we could order it down, grab the
Sure.
big board, put it there. To me, I do start with goaltending. That's number one to me. And it hasn't been good in 3 games.
I think their team defense has been kind of spotty.
I just think the intensity altogether,
Yeah.
top through bottom, the entire team, including goaltending, the whole
Yes.
team. 20 guys are not playing playoff style hockey.
Simple.
That's it
Yeah.
for me.
I agree with you. It's the dialed in factor. They just don't seem dialed in until it's too late.
Yeah.
Like what would they Vancouver had 2 shots I think in a period and a half or something last night.
Yep.
First period, Oilers were
late, though.
horrendous. Second period, they were a little bit better. Third period, they were obviously better. But first period, you can't just show
Chased.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, chasing the game
Mm-hmm.
and just show up and play the way you. Banging my head against the wall.
Oh,
Okay.
Blackhawks fan Murray McCourt, ladies and gentlemen.
I will throw this out there, by the way. This is the EST Hangout presented by Two Hoots Hard Ice Tea live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in iHeartRadio, as well as those watching on YouTube. Scott Laurie, Murray McCourt, Tom Gazzola, Matt Iwanyk with you here. Where are you guys with the Oilers winning this series? Do you still feel good that the Oilers are going to win this series?
They can.
Yes.
Well, I'm not saying, but
Yeah.
maybe you're not as much into the prediction, but for the two of you, like Murray, last week you said Oilers in 5. Do you think the Oilers still win this series? Scott, do you think the Oilers are still winning this series?
Like I said earlier, the positive, it's 2-1, and they hit 4 posts or whatever last night, and didn't play very good. If they play like they can, with a little more intensity and do a little bit more in basically every area of the ice, they win this series. They could have won that game. It could be 3-0. Mm-hmm. So 100%, I still feel like they're going to win the series. Sheloffs can't continue to make those 3 crazy saves where you're going, how did that not go in?
Yeah.
Every night. And one of those post shot goes in off the post instead of out off the post. So yeah, I still feel like we're gonna
Tommy likes you too much. He hasn't called you on
I
it.
know. I
No,
can't
I
help
love
it.
Scott Laurie.
Yeah.
No, all good.
Okay,
But
I still
self-catch
think
was
they're
good.
I still think they're gonna pull it out. They're the better team, and I feel like that's why they play 7 games, because the better team usually wins out, and as long as there's no injuries don't drag them down, they should win.
So then your opinion is that they're actually going to get their heads out of their butts and start playing with intensity.
Yes.
Okay. So that's going to be my question to you. Are they going to win the series? If they actually show up and play, yes, they'll win the next 3 games, period, because they're the better team. But are they actually going to show up? That's the question I can't answer. Are they going to show up?
There's some troubling trends.
Yes,
100%.
very troubling.
Right? In the first 3 games of this series that are ominous. I look at Skinner's save percentage. I think he's sub 800 in the 2 games, and then 870 or 880 in game 2, something like that. Not good enough. We know that. But the beauty of the playoffs is trends can be bucked. Game to game, it's a different story.
Yeah.
So, yesterday there was a lot of gloom and doom on the post-game show, like you
Sure.
saw. Understandable. But you can buck trends in the playoffs. And the last game, quote unquote, shouldn't matter. If you approach it one game at a time, get your head out of your, you know what, then they could be just fine, and they can still win this series. They're capable. You guys, we've talked about it. They're a good team. They've
It's a
got
team
good
that won
players.
16 in a row.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they can win games and they can rattle games off. And I know that's regular season, not playoffs. And they do have to play better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
They're
but,
down 2-1.
But it's 2-1.
Yeah.
793 save percentage in 3 games for Skinner.
Yeah,
in this series. 792, 842, 733.
I'm not good at math, but that's pretty stinky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
looking ahead, though, both these teams get smoked in the next round.
I don't know.
Yes and no.
I don't know. Unless the Stars and Avs beat the living crap out of each other, which could happen.
The positive side I'll take for the Oilers is if they move on from this series, it would also mean that these trends have changed. That maybe there's a little more depth scoring, that Stuart Skinner is playing better, that they're closer to being that hockey team that was closer to the 16 in a row and all of that. And we have seen them go and play the Avs really well this season. We have seen them go and have some good games against the Dallas Stars at times. But I wouldn't take them as the favorites in that series. But that's it. Like that's the only positive I would take for the Oilers is that if you get through this series, it would mean then you would like to think
better, for sure.
they've changed their game.
Yeah. Dallas is not the Vancouver Canucks, though. They are good. They are really
And
good.
Ottinger's playing well.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. As you know, I played golf with Frank Saravalli yesterday.
Daily face-off.
He told me that Demko is slated to play in Game 6. So,
Do you, though?
that's why I was going to go with that.
Well, I guess it depends what happens in the
keeps
next couple games.
playing as well as he did last night. I mean, again, Demko's their best goalie,
Yeah.
so you probably.
But is he
probably
going to be
put him in.
Demko?
Exactly, that's the question. But that'd be an interesting decision for them to make. And if it is going 6 or 7 games, I mean, the series can change and
Yeah.
things like that. Like Sheloff's had a great game last night. He's still not.
I don't think he's been that great in this series.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. Yesterday, he
Yesterday
did his
he was
job.
good,
He
sure.
made those extra saves. He did the Grant Fuhr type thing. Didn't let the next one in type thing. He had some really good saves. But I also look at him and go, the Oilers could beat this guy. Like they could score goals past him. We've seen them score goals past this
four
one.
goalposts.
He's not a guy that. In one way, though, I will say that that's good goaltending in a way. I know that's opposite of what Leon said yesterday, but all that he left open was the post.
Yeah,
He
fair.
got past the goalie, but he didn't leave the net open for you to score in. But I also don't think like he's been this guy that the Oilers should be afraid of, and we're sitting going, he goalied the Oilers for 3 straight games or something like that.
Yeah.
But so at Game 6, how does this go? If it's a split and the Canucks are up 3-2, I guess it would. What happened in Game 5 for me to want to go to Demko?
You probably have to play him, because if Vancouver's going to get past Edmonton, they're going to want him in the next series.
Absolutely.
But there's also then like, okay, if you're up 3-2 going into Game 6, and Shilov's played well in Game 5, let's use this hypothetical. They lose Game 4 but win Game 5. He plays well. Do you sit there and go, we'll save Demko for Game 7? Because if Shilov's wins, though, we go to the next round. We save Demko a little bit more. But if we need Game 7, we throw him out there. Do you throw him right there right away?
In
Like
a Game 7, coming off a couple-week break.
I think it could be a very difficult conversation to have for
Absolutely.
the Canucks, because actually could be a reason why you lose a series. You made the wrong move.
Now,
Putting
Frank,
Demko in a little too soon while Shilovs was playing well, and that knocks you out or something.
Now, Frank and I were 100% on the same page yesterday when we said the Oilers are going to win last night, and they're going to win the next game, and they're going to win the next game because they're simply substantially better than the Vancouver Canucks. And he said, like, he's been following the Canucks in the last series. He covered that series, so he's watched every single game of the Vancouver Canucks in the playoffs. He says they're not very good, and the Oilers are simply better, so they're going to steamroll them. And then the Oilers shit the bed yesterday. So,
Yes, they soiled
so
the
Frank
sheets.
and I have no idea what we're talking about, but we were on the same page.
Two smart guys. I'm with you.
It's been a series. It was never going to be an easy series.
No, of course
it was
not.
never going to be easy.
Now, another little tidbit with Frank. I texted Maddie and told him I was golfing with Frank. I said, "What do you want to know? I'm golfing with Frank tomorrow. Tell me what you what you want to know." And he said, "Find out what's going on with the Oilers GM situation."
Yeah, they're keeping that pretty
And so
shrouded in
Frank,
mystery.
Frank said that he believes that they haven't even started, that it's not even on their radar right now to even think about it. So they've got a guy in place doing the job, and they'll worry about that later.
Yeah, it's been quiet.
Yeah.
Quiet's interesting.
It is interesting. Usually you start to hear there's smoke or you get a little bit of a buzz, but no, there's been none of that. All I'll say is Kenny Holland, who generally is out and about around, he's walking, talking to people in the press box. This year it's been less of Kenny Holland, seeing him around, not as noticeable. So that was something that I kind of was like, I think he knows his time's up. There's no extending this. And yeah, we've seen a lot less Kenny Holland because he would be a chatty guy up in the press box. He has his table in the media lounge, and he would sit and he would shoot the breeze with everybody. And he's kind of stayed to himself a little bit more, and I think that's kind of telling. So, because people were asking, especially at the end of the year, they're like, "Oh, do you extend Holland?" It's like, no, he knows it's over. You got rid of Tyler Wright. You brought in a new guy for to be it was Pracey they brought in. So I think that was an indicator, and he's done at the end of the year.
Draft's only like 6 weeks away.
Yeah,
Something like that,
they still prepare. They have
I
an
don't know, but
army.
to not have a GM,
staff.
like you have a big off season with Leon. That's where they
Well,
must know who they're going for. We said that for the show. They must know where they're going then.
That's a Jeff Jackson
Because-
negotiation. Paul Coffey will be involved in that. It's not necessarily the new GM or Ken Holland.
No, but a new GM also then we need to know what. I guess the cap. You have an idea of what the money's going to be.
They've got Bill Scott
Capologist.
there as their capologist.
Yeah.
No, but but you know, like the negotiate whatever money Leon wants, he's going to get. And
Yeah,
things.
exactly.
But I don't know. It's you kind of want to
You
have someone
open
in
the
place
vault, you
having
go,
things.
pay-
I feel like they would have to know who they're going
Pay
with
that
right
man
now.
the money. It's that clip, right?
Yeah.
You get to pay whatever you can pay him, and whatever matches. I mean, there's a set limited number, right?
Yep.
So you pay him his money. Move on.
They get more than Matthews. Done.
Yeah. Be happy. He doesn't want to go any. He won't want to go anywhere.
I don't think so.
You know, like
That's for another day, though.
Yeah.
That's for another day.
Got a few hockey games to win first.
There you go.
yeah, exactly.
Let's qualify someone now for
Let's
the
do
VIP table to the Friday Great Outdoors Comedy Festival.
get
It's
my phone out.
for four. You guys very welcome to get your phones up for this. July 12th to the 14th, Kingsman Park on the Friday. Andrew Schultz and Shane Gillis. VIP tables are completely sold out for that one. Saturday features Kevin Hart. Sunday, Burt Kreischer and Whitney Cummings. Great Outdoors Comedy Festival.com. Alley Cat, the official beer of the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, which will feature the 6 o'clocker lager. So a chance to sit outside in the beautiful Edmonton River Valley with the sun up, laughing, and drinking a 6 o'clocker lager. What better way to spend a Sunday night? Tickets, greatoutdoorscomedyfestival.com. If you want to go into the draw for this VIP table to Friday, text us. Would you start Skinner or Pickard? Or Jack Campbell in
Shut
game 4.
up with you.
780-218-9999. Just okay, I'll change. Who are you starting in net if you were Chris Knobloch? Text that in at 780-218-9999, and you will go into a draw to qualify for this VIP table, which we'll give away next Friday, not this Friday, next Friday. Again, that's for the Friday show. Andrew Schultz and Shane Gillis. GreatOutdoorsComedyFestival.com for more information, as well as to get your tickets.
That is a great 1-2 punch that night. Gillis
yeah.
and Andrew Schultz.
I thought you were going to say something to Campbell.
No.
That's the
No.
joke. That is soup is the key word.
Oh my God.
You got
Or
a
comedy
third
festival.
stringer going out for the Vancouver Canucks. Third stringer versus third stringer, baby.
Well,
Let's do it.
Campbell was good in the playoffs last year. He had a good finish of the year in Baco.
You want to know
No.
something?
Stop it.
If Skinner really needs a little bit of, as Scott said, maybe he just needs to watch the game a little bit. Put him in the press box and you go Campbell and
Holy-
Pickard
Oh
as
my
your 1-2
goodness.
for game 4. And then you could go to
You
Skinner.
need to
Okay,
leave,
it's a
Matthew.
trivia question. So Maddie, you're saying Skinner.
I would stick with
You're-
Skinner, but
you're
short leash.
saying-
Again, I've got the short leash, and I'm telling Pickard before the game, be ready, because I may go to you at any moment.
And Scott's making a change.
I'm making a change. Going Pickard.
I think they're staying with Skinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but that wasn't the question. What would you do?
What would I do?
Yeah.
You're Chris Knobloch. Bob put you in charge of
I
this
don't.
team.
I don't like this, but I would probably stick with Skinner too.
Yeah.
Because I'm not encouraged by his play, obviously.
Skinner. I said that earlier.
Yeah.
But like, look,
So it's
they go down
3-1 here.
3-1. Pickard started game 5 easy.
Sure.
It's
Okay.
not even a
That's
question.
fine, yeah.
What's
Not even a question.
depends
I
on
don't
the
even care.
score.
But I
depends
feel-
on the
Don't even
score,
care.
What happens?
Don't even care at that
What
point.
if they lose 2-1 and the shots on net are 46-34 for Vancouver and Skinner stops 44?
Okay, now that does
Okay.
change a little bit. But like, okay, so there'd be a very good chance if they go down 3-1 to me. If I was the coach, I'd be going to Pickard because I think at some point then you need some real change for this team, something to really shock the system, and it might have to be goaltending. Because Skinner hasn't been good enough through 3 games for me,
Yeah.
and maybe he has one good one. But if you're down 3-1 at that point, what else are you doing to try to shake this team up?
Yeah.
There's
Pickard
not
should
many
be
other
able-
options.
Pickard should be able to get an 800 save percentage. I mean, right? Like that's all.
Yes.
That is better than
Like
they put Skinner in a bad spot on a bunch of these goals for sure. But
875 might be good enough,
Yeah.
you know, and that's still pretty weak.
You know what? Another sign. This is another thing where we could look at Skinner and be like, I don't know where he's at mentally. He's like taking that trapezoid penalty the other night. There was one instance last night where he almost did the same thing. Like those little mistakes might be little tells where he's at mentally. That I was made a note of it the other night watching, and then I just kind of forgot about it. But you reminded me of that, Scott. Is like him making those little plays, like mistakes that are simple and should never happen, but doing it. I don't know if he's overthinking it in his own head, but maybe that's a sign as to where he's at up here right now.
he looks smaller when he's letting those goals in. That you think, yeah, I'd like him to have that one, whether it's
Right. This
a
is
good
a
shot
goal.
or not. He almost looks like he's more compressed.
Stiff is
Something.
what I think he looks like on some of those for
And I
sure.
think the first goal against, if he starts the first goal against, you can kind of see it, right? So if he's small or stiff, then make the change. Like if we Oilers go down 1-0 quick, make the change. Like you said, short leash, see how he looks, and I know you run the risk of its goaltending, and you could make it worse down the road, but he is their goalie going forward. He is that, and I think if you do start him or pull him, he's still going to know that.
Yeah.
But it's a shake the team up,
Well, and
refresh your brain, get maybe you're tired, whatever it is.
He also has to realize that as much as last year he may not liked getting pulled so much, it's a result-based business, and especially in the playoffs, if you're not getting the results,
Make the save.
coaches has to do something.
Be better.
And in hockey, one of the easiest things that you could do to try to change a game is go to your goaltender and swap them out.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that if you're a professional goalie in the National Hockey League, that's something that can happen. And if you don't want it to happen, find a way to steal a game. Find a way to make that big save that we're all going, how did he do that?
Yeah.
How did he get that done? Or have that game like game 4 in LA, where we all walked away and just that's what we all thought the turning point of this team was.
Sure.
'Cause Skinner didn't let that goal in.
Sure.
Got to play like that, and then you won't get pulled. So
Yep.
we'll see.
He's
how-
done it. He did a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
It's been there. He's done it.
Does anyone
we're
want a 2 Hoots, by the way? Did you want?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're 3 games into a 7-game series.
Me too,
I mean,
please.
potentially not even halfway done. I mean, you played junior hockey. I mean, playoff battles are. I mean, it is something to go through,
It's-
right?
it's fun and painful.
Fun and painful. I mean, the ups and the downs and the twists and the turns and.
Yeah,
It's something else to be in those wars and those battles, and there's so much left here, and
Yeah.
so many more stories to tell, and so many more pages to be written. So
That's
it's
and that's
still
why,
early.
Murray. Like the trends can be bucked. You
Yeah,
can
absolutely.
completely write a different story the next game.
Absolutely.
You know, and persuade people and the way outsiders, us as media fans, see the team. Like we collectively, I'm saying, media fan base are looking at the Oilers going, "Wow, they look like dog crap right now."
Sure
They've lost one game.
It's 2-1.
If they come out guns a blazing tomorrow, let's say hypothetical, and they have a big win and they win by it's a multi-goal victory, people are, they're back, baby.
Yeah.
I knew it all along.
And then
it's
they
just-
lose the next one. It's like,
like, oh no, it's
whoa.
over.
Again,
That's
they're the better team.
Yeah.
7-game series, they should come out ahead.
Should. Absolutely.
There's a good mix between Picker and Skinner in the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999 for people entering for the draw. Although Rams fan going, I'd start Olivier Rodrigue, wild card.
Oh,
Wow.
Really? They're doing third stringer. We're going to go to fourth
bring in the kid.
Cheers.
and see what
Cheers.
happens. Yeah, there we go.
Sorry, Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not in. No,
I'm-
he
I'm-
likes his wine. That's what he's into. So,
But not at 9:30 in the morning or whatever the heck time it is right now.
except when it's a couple days before
For
Christmas.
Christmas. That's
Yeah.
different. That's
It's after
different.
10.
That was
Is it?
It's 10:17.
That was an
We're good.
epic episode of the Hangout.
That was when he had the
Yes.
Skinner rant too.
Yeah, you were on fire that day. I was
Yeah.
like, Murray, bringing the heat.
Well, I had a little wine, and I was sick and tired of people going after my boy, and for no good reason. So I had my rant. But I'll tell you a little story about that because fairly recently, a couple weeks ago, a regular listener of the show, Jeff Lorenz is his name. He's a realtor in Sherwood Park, and he was telling me after the rant on the show, he was telling me, you know what? I was anti-Skinner, and then you went on that rant, and I listened to what you had to say, and I'm like, huh, he's right. And you changed my mind on Skinner. And then a few weeks ago, him and his wife and some other couples were at some charity function, and he said, like this was in the playoffs in the middle of the LA series, and he said all the guys at the table were starting to go on a anti-Skinner rant, and he said, I slammed my fist down on the table and I used all of your points from your rant back in
Nice.
December, and I got everybody on board. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, Skinner's okay.
Nice. That was, see?
Yeah,
The passion comes
Exactly.
through. I love that.
yeah. It's fun.
He's so young still, right? Like, I mean, he
25,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good goalie. For
Second,
sure.
But-
second year in the NHL.
Second year in the NHL.
But I will say, if this doesn't go well this playoffs, if he doesn't turn around, next year's his last chance at the kick at the can with the Oilers. For that, you can't have 3 straight bad playoffs
Yeah.
if you go there. That's like he's still young, but if
Yeah.
he doesn't do it this year, and we look at last year and this year and go goaltending wasn't good enough,
Yeah.
it's gonna be tight for next year because if he can't produce next year, he then might just not be a playoff performer.
I think last night was his 20th playoff game in his career, or 19th, somewhere around there. You start to get an idea. Unfortunately, the trends are showing, but again, you can buck them.
Really
See-
quickly.
Yeah. But
Jeff Lorenz just texted me. Thanks for the shout out on the radio.
had a boy.
Quick, we had an announcement today for Edmonton Sports Talk.
Yes, go
It was
for it.
a good announcement. We're partnering with the Edmonton Stingers to be able to catch live Stingers games right here on Edmonton Sports Talk on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio. I think of their 20 games this year, we're going to have about 15 of them on our station. Our full
Excellent.
broadcast schedule will be up at EdmontonSportsTalk.com later today. Their season gets going, I believe it's just next week out in Calgary. They open up the whole CEBL season. I think it's next Tuesday. I think it's the 21st, not the 22nd.
Against the Surge.
Against the Surge in Calgary. So we're going to have, if you're driving around, if you can't get to Expo Center, which you should get to when they're in town because it's a great atmosphere. It's a great game. We'll have to go there a few times this year ourselves. If you're just driving around, want to keep up to date on what's going on with the Stingers, or when they're out of town, throw it on to Edmonton Sports Talk on, again, our website, TuneIn, or iHeartRadio, and we'll have you with some live Stingers action throughout the summer. Again, I think it's about 15 of 20, depending on Oilers. That may change too, with pre and post games. Elks Grid and Goal kickoff post game show. That's interrupting a few of those games as well in there, though. But yeah, 15 of 20 games or so right here in the Stingers, and when they make the playoffs, we'll hopefully have some of those playoff games on the station as well. So very excited to be partnering with the Edmonton Stingers this year and be able to bring some Stingers action to the people of Edmonton on the radio.
So who's doing the calls of the game? Is that
If it rotates, I can't remember exactly who's on the call. Is
Doug McLean's on there. Paul Sir. I know
I don't
Mark
think Paul did it last year.
Majot does some stuff with
He
them
stepped
too.
back last year on it too.
Okay.
I think Doug would be
I
part
saw
of
Doug
it.
there last year
Yeah.
with Paul Sir.
okay? So it's not EST
No,
doing it. It's your
we'll be
what
having
they
the
do.
feed from them,
Okay.
and it's what we did it at 12:62.
Yeah.
Right.
We were carrying the Stingers games at 12:60, and
Right.
we were gonna do it last year. Yeah, I think we locked it in that we were gonna do it last year.
Right.
Then
We
we
didn't.
didn't have a station anymore.
Then we
Remember that?
did.
Oh, I remember.
So, and we did it for a few years. Yeah, no, we get a league feed for it, and but we'll be able to bring it to the people of Edmonton once again. And
that's
I
awesome.
was talking with someone at the league, and he's happy that the Stingers have a way to get more radio out there. So
That's
very
gonna be
excited
great.
that the boys announced that this morning. And again, keep it locked. EdmontonSportsTalk.com. And keep it locked to us. We'll have Stingers coverage, and we'll keep you updated on everything going on with the Stingers throughout their season right here on EST.
I love it. I know we have more stuff in store, but that's a huge announcement. I'm very excited about that. More live programming on our station's great. And you guys were a big part of 1262. We're coming up on a year since we had to regroup and create the new station.
Tomorrow's 11 months.
Tomorrow's 11 months. I was thinking, I'm like, oh my goodness,
Holy.
what a messed up
But
year.
it's amazing how to watch it and how much work you guys have put into it and the content that you guys put out to all of the crazy listeners and stuff. It's amazing, and you guys have. I know you do take a lot of pride, but take a lot of pride. There's a lot of people out there listening and really happy for you guys, and it's amazing. What the first meeting in the past, like Dusty and meeting at a Boston Pizza, going, here's what we think we're gonna do. And it's like, okay, how it's become kind of exactly what you guys have wanted to do is it's crazy, and it's a lot of hard work from all of you guys behind the scenes. So it's awesome.
But you were one of the first to say, let us know, and then you, Murray, as well, keeping the VIP golf show with us.
Yes.
So
Well,
we can.
and you guys helping me get to that point. I was down for 3 weeks. I mean, we all know. I mean, it was heartbreak that happened. I mean, I'll never forget that you were on the air. I was putting a booze order away in the pouring rain, and my phone's blowing up, and I'm just like, "What the hell?" It's heartbreaking, and for you guys to be able to help me get my show back up in 3 weeks was incredible.
Your show was the first one on our station before we even kind of unveiled it.
Yeah, exactly. No one even knew what it was, but it was.
Now they know.
What now? Everyone knows now. Yeah, and the listenership on my show was through the roof compared to the very beginning last year and stuff like that. Is the station is now up and going? Like everyone was like, "Well, what is EST? What is it?" Well, people know now. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah,
It's funny.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say, it was funny when it was first. You're trying to explain to people it's like radio, but it's not on radio.
Digital, yeah.
Yeah, and now it just everyone just kind of gets it.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to explain it.
It's radio's kind of in that spot right now where it's TV, but it's streaming TV. We're streaming TV, not cable TV.
Yeah.
You can still get cable, but now there's the streaming services, and we're that in that sense. But yeah, we had the Birdie Booze launch on Saturday. Birch and Bear. You had a time
I did.
with Zach to come. So that's now launched with Strathcona Spirits, which is available now at Sobeys and Safeway liquor stores or through Strathcona Spirits directly. And I don't think we have a bottle. I have some. I forgot to bring them in today, which stinks.
Oh.
Brian gave me some yesterday when we were at Global. And I forgot to bring those in, which is on me. My apologies. But it goes down good.
It was
what
funny.
does it taste like? What's the flavor?
Blue raspberry lemonade. I was just on Saturday night. I bought some. I just poured it onto some ice, and just drank it at night, and it was delicious.
As a drink, not
just
a
I drank it
shooter?
as a drink. As a shooter, it goes down too easy. It is.
I can attest to
do you know
that.
how you have shooters some of them burn or whatever? This one just goes down.
Yeah, it's like
it's
juice.
easy. I'm not a big vodka drinker, but I just chilled it, threw it, put it on some ice, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful.
It's funny. I was out buying beer just the other day. It was before the weekend, and I had 6 o'clock lager, and I was putting it in the back of my car. I was at one of the Sobe stores, and the guy pulled up, and he's like, "Hey, you need some birdie booze to go with that."
No.
He was the guy from Strathcona Spirits dropping it off at
Brian
Bulmaris location.
Schmitty.
He had an Oilers hat on.
Yeah, that's
That's
Schmitty.
Schmitty.
And he's like, so he's yelling at me about the car. I'm like, you're right, I do, but I had to run away. But he was unloading it right then and there to get it into the store.
That's
It was
worlds
pretty funny.
colliding. You
It
and
was pretty
Schmitty,
funny.
two good dudes.
It's
pretty funny.
we figured it out. It's 3 parts 6 o'clock lager, 1 part Birdie Booze. That's your drop
That's your
shot.
drop.
And what is it? What's the name?
Schmitty had it as
Birdie Bomb?
Birdie Bomb, I think.
But
But
then
then Corey B had.
There was another name.
Yeah, I
Cuckoo
don't.
Clock Shot. Something like
That
that. Yeah.
sounds right. Yeah.
Because Corey B somehow got it on Friday, or I think he went to Strathcona Spirit and he had 4 bottles, and right away he tweeted us, he goes, 1 down, 3 to go. We're like, Corey's already down 1 bottle. Cuckoo Clock Drop Shot.
Yeah.
But his ratios, even he said he needed to work on the ratios. But on Saturday, we figured out the ratios. We think you go 3 parts beer, 1 part birdie.
Yeah.
And it tastes pretty good. It actually
Trial and error,
that worked
right?
out pretty well.
Trial and error.
That was
Just
a
keep
fun
trying.
trial
Yeah,
and
yeah.
error.
Makes it fun, yeah.
It's funny. Schmitty yesterday on Global, we were on there with Lisa McGregor, and he wanted to, for Mother's Day stuff, he put orange juice into the Birdie Booze, thinking this is a nice little mixture, and it turned like slime
Weird
green.
green.
He wasn't expecting that, and we're all just like, "Oh, that doesn't look so great." But then I think it's Daintree Christensen, who's the weather girl there.
Yeah.
She said after off air, like you could have called it like the shot, like or the shot afterwards, like hitting it on the green or something. Because it turned green,
Yes.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And like
Yes.
kept the golf thing. We're like, oh, where were you 2 minutes ago? We're on the air and we're all looking at this going, crap.
Whoops.
Live TV.
Yeah. So tastes great. Get it. So we Safeway Liquor right now. I think $17.99 for a Mickey, and pops tastes really good. And it was a great time on Saturday. So thanks to everyone with Birch and Bear and
Yes.
Strathcona Spirits, and we've got now 2 liquors things that we're part of.
Look what you've done, Murray.
It's crazy.
Look what you've done, Scott. No, I'm kidding.
This is where we are. So.
It's amazing. I mean, the good products, good local products,
Yeah.
and dedicated followers. But the product has to be good. It was like the beer, right?
Yeah.
Like Alley Cat made a great beer. If it wasn't a great beer, it wouldn't still be around, right?
No.
Like,
Yeah.
so it's good products by good people. But,
Yeah, we do a great job at drinking it.
yeah.
Alley Cat and Strathcona Spirits do a great job of making it.
Yeah.
We know how to though drink it.
Yeah.
This is the EST Hangout presented by Hoots, Iwanyk, Scott Laurie, Murray McCourt, and Tom Gazzola with you here. Great VIP golf show yesterday.
Oh, thanks, yeah.
Bob Weeks was on the show. Lisa Longball was on the show.
Will Bateman, local
Will
guy
Bateman.
on the
Oh, right.
Corn Ferry Tour.
Off
Knock
week
on
for him.
wood. He's on the PGA next year. But sorry, what was that?
Off week for him.
Yeah,
Wasn't it? He was in Scottsdale, he said.
Yeah, Scottsdale is where his home is now. Well, his other home, I guess, is Edmonton, but lives in Scottsdale and off to Kansas City for an event on the Corn Ferry this upcoming weekend. So hopefully, like if the season were to end today, he's on the PGA Tour next year. So we'll see if he can carry that. It'll be the first ever Edmontonian on the PGA Tour. So
That's so cool.
yeah, so knock on wood, he can carry that forward this year. But yeah, it was a great show, a lot of fun, and it's just awesome being in the studio every Sunday morning with Zacticum and getting her done. It's fun. Love it.
EdmontonSportsTalk.com if you missed Sunday's show. All the links to the podcast are there. Are you going to have Clausen this upcoming week?
Clausen is on
Yes.
You got it booked
Sunday
in?
morning. He's coming
Sweet.
Sunday morning, 8, first guest just after 8 o'clock. It's going to be fun because I'm going to harp on him about the weather
Yes.
again. But he is the one and only live golf lover that I know. And so we're going to debate about how in the hell he likes live golf. I have no idea. Outside
Is
of
he coming here or is it just video?
He's going to do video chat.
Okay.
He's going to do video chat. And, the Knicks just lost 2 in a row. So if that trend continues, he's going to take it on the chin about that too. It's going to be a fun segment. And I haven't told him this yet, but he better have a good rap ready to polish it off because he says that he's a rapper that is a weatherman, not a weatherman that raps.
It's true.
So he absolutely is going to need to throw down some rap on the VIP golf show Sunday morning.
He'll have something. I know he'll come up with something for you. That's pretty good. It was funny you were giving it to him when he was on the Hangout with us. And what was it? Environment Canada was
Wow.
the go-to weather app that he said. Instead, don't use the Weather Network.
Weather Network is just a joke.
You should have
I
seen
want to get another
He
one.
was so angry.
Well, I've talked about every outdoor business should form a class action lawsuit against the Weather Network because they have all these stupid things where it's a 20% chance of rain and their icon is a cloud with rain coming out of it.
Right.
Like, shut up. How about don't put the rain coming out of it if it's a 20% chance of rain because it impacts the outdoor
Business.
businesses.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Or, and then they have forecasts. Oh, it's going to be 25 millimeters of rain this day. And then, we had no rain any of those days. Like Environment Canada is just way more accurate than the Weather Network. And it's not Josh's fault. I was just grilling him because they suck so
he's the
bad
point
at it.
person.
Yeah.
Well, I think his exact thing was follow my forecast.
Exactly.
To CTV Edmonton's website or my weather blast. and
Exactly.
That's the real weather.
Exactly. So
Clausen app.
it was great to let him hear my vent about Weather Network, and he was gracious in
was hilarious.
listening to my vent and explaining to all the listeners where they should really be getting their weather. Which I wish every golfer would have been listening to that and know where to get their real weather from. Not the Weather Network. Don't do it.
How was the rain for you guys last week?
It was great.
Yeah.
Obviously we lost a day,
Yes.
which is fine at this time of year, especially.
Yeah.
But we could use a heck of a lot more rain. I mean, that was great, but just rain at night.
Yeah.
Josh Clausen, if you're listening, make it rain at night, every night for about 3 hours. One of our golfers in our group yesterday was our superintendent, and there was just a tiny little bit of rain coming down on us while we were golfing, and he was like, "Yes, rain!" And I'm like, "Is this enough rain that's really going to benefit?" He says, "Yeah, this is great. Anything will help." And I'm like, "Okay." So any rain will do, but we already had that smoke come in this weekend and stuff like that.
I know.
I mean, we need a lot of moisture all across, Canada, probably even, but
it'd be Canada.
Yeah.
Because the smoke from this weekend is from BC.
BC.
Yeah.
So and then
now Fort Max
got some fires
fire and
going
stuff
on and
going
stuff
on.
like that. So, Mother Nature's not doing us a lot of favors. Last few years with drought-like conditions, and it's supposed to be hot and dry again this year. So forest fires and smoke is going to be a norm, unfortunately. I think so. Unless we get a lot of help from Mother Nature.
Yeah, like I said, the nightly rain's the best rain.
I love that.
I know,
Absolutely.
like just cools the house down and
Or
doesn't impact your day to day.
exactly. Or sitting on the deck having a two hoots and watching the lightning and everything
Yeah.
go would be if you like two hoots.
Who doesn't? It's delicious.
Grab a glass
Wine.
of red.
Wine.
Wine, yeah.
Glass of red is a great way to end the night too.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
sure.
Pour that out. Some news that I got to get to.
Here we go.
Only one other person in this room is going to care. That's you.
Ten Hag.
No, Allegri will leave Juventus at the end of the season.
So where's he going then?
Man U. I saw that immediately, and I'm going, Ten Hag's going to be gone. They're going to bring in Allegri, and geez, he's not going to be good
Just
for
keep
United.
scrolling. By the time the show's over, it'll be announced. Yeah.
We should have two conversations. You guys can talk soccer. Let's talk golf
More
or
golf,
something.
yeah. I haven't even swung a club yet. I'm disappointed in myself.
Scott had a rough weekend when it comes to soccer. He had the big match
did.
between Rangers
The
and
old firm.
Celtic, and
Didn't go our way, but that's okay. That's okay. We got one
Still
trophy this
smiling.
year. We got one more to go.
it's not over.
No,
It's not.
no. Celtic could lose out.
Yeah.
and we could win out. There's still hope,
Yeah.
but it's very slim.
Yeah.
it's very slim hope.
I don't know where I went wrong as a father, but I have a 6-year-old. So last night, we're over at my wife's parents, and we had to have a big soccer game at night. It was me and Luke and my wife against her parents in the soccer game, and we were Manchester City because there's some big player on
that's a
Manchester
shame.
City, and the other team was Argentina because of
That's a
Messi.
good one.
Messi and I go, who's the big player in Manchester City that he kept talking about?
Holland.
Holland. Oh yeah, and he says Holland, and I'm like,
Wow.
what? Where does my kid learn this stuff? Because that's not from me.
No, it wouldn't be.
No, Holland. Yeah,
He's learning the right stuff. He's learning what he needs to know, except cheering for City.
Yeah.
Well, I asked him. I said, "What about Manchester United?" No, Manchester City. I'm like,
Interesting.
It'd be torture to go to United right now.
Yeah.
City might win the title this week.
Oh,
It's been wild. We were talking to Steve Sandor, who's a big Arsenal fan. He was joking with me for the last couple of weeks that for Manchester City, they needed to cheer for their crosstown rival, Man
Right,
United, against Arsenal, which is just dirty. But now Arsenal, they need to cheer for their crosstown rival in Tottenham against City if they want to win a title. And it's just like
That's hard to do.
Well, and even for United, like it was one they lost yesterday to Arsenal, but it was a loss I was very happy with because I don't want City to win.
you don't
I'd
want
rather
City.
have Arsenal
100%.
win. And they lost, but it's better than them winning because it basically would clinch City the title. And I don't want City to win another title.
Yeah. Not many people want City to win.
They got 115 charges against them.
Exactly.
115 charges.
Yeah.
There's been they've been charged. Try to keep this as simple as possible in various ways of quote unquote cheating in a sense.
Oh, the New England Patriots of soccer.
And they've been charged 115
worse.
times, but we're all waiting to see what sort of punishment. And there have been punishments against other clubs for smaller things that have involved losing a lot of points and dropping down. And there have been rumblings that City's just going to get relegated right away to the lower level and lose their titles. But it's City. They're just going to pay some. Like what's going to happen in the end, Eric and I keep talking, is they'll just have to pay like $100 million. That's it.
Yeah.
They'll keep their titles. They'll have cheated all this, but they'll just have to pay some money, and their Middle Eastern money will pay it, and they'll all be good.
So then it's Houston Astros. You can win all the
Yes,
World
exactly.
Series
100%.
with all
Wow.
the. Yeah.
But the
I
thing
guess
is,
the Patriots won
we
Super
could
Bowls.
say 115 charges to them.
Yeah.
115.
115.
Was it City's owner that took off from inside the stadium in a helicopter?
Leicester City.
Oh, that was Leicester. Okay, and then it crashed right outside the stadium. That was messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's probably like 6 years ago now or something. It's
for
been
sure.
a while since that one.
remember
It's tough
that.
because it's pre-COVID, right? So it
Yeah.
could be 8. So it could be 6 or 8.
Those 3 years were up there.
How did you get into soccer? Are you a European guy? Or?
I was born in Scotland.
Oh, okay. Now I get it.
Yeah, so we were always a Glasgow Rangers household. So I never played hockey. I played soccer. Still love it. Soccer, it's a beautiful game. Yeah. No, you listen.
It's not.
Even Dusty. It's the problem is there's no live, like there's nowhere to go see a good live,
proper game.
live
Proper
game.
Yeah.
If you were like where Dustin was in Portland and going,
And
down
it was
to
a
see,
derby game. It was against Seattle.
exactly, like they hate each other and
Yep.
the crowd's singing and they're dancing. Like going to a soccer game, even when Canada was here against Mexico, it's a different atmosphere. It's so much fun. There's so much history. Some's not great. Like a lot of bad history you don't necessarily want to go into, but there's just so much history that it's easy to get looped in and sucked into it. And it's phenomenal.
The way I view it is you need to do that singing and dancing in the crowd because there's nothing exciting going on the field.
See, and that's where you're not noticing the beauty of soccer.
Yeah, it's a chess
that's happening. It's very much a chess match. It's the build that you're watching to get to the big crescendo and the chances.
Is
and
that
stuff.
what it is?
It is, and there is when the games look. Are there
Yes.
bad soccer matches?
100%.
Oh, yeah.
There's bad at every sport, but when you're watching and you're seeing that type of stuff happen, it's just magnificent.
Yeah, high level.
The Champions League semifinals that we had across the board, the 4 matches, the 2 between PSG and Dortmund, and the 2 between Real and Barca.
Yeah.
Real and Bayern.
Bayern. Yeah.
They were unbelievable matches. Alphonso Davies scoring the goal to give Bayern the lead, which looked like it was going to be the winner to
Beautiful
send them to the final. An unbelievable goal.
Beautiful goal.
Like not talked about enough
Yeah.
in Canada about
Yeah.
how big of a goal this was. And then Real coming back and getting 2 goals after that to push them through to Wembley. It's where dreams are made of.
Yeah.
That's what Manchester United's Old Trafford. I think it's the theater of dreams. That's the nickname
I'm
of
trying
it.
to
It's
figure
just
out what
absolutely
language
incredible.
you guys are speaking
when you
right
see-
now. It's not English. I don't
When
know.
you see high like those games, like watch the
Yes.
European Championship, like that is 22 of the best players in the world
Yeah.
playing against each other, and it's so tactical. But they're trying to figure each other out. There's a lot of kind of counter punches, and the manager's trying to shift the systems. It's a great game, and especially when the crowd's into it, and there's lots at stake. Like again, you could watch 5 games on the weekend, and maybe some of them are bad. They're not great, but again, you watch that high level skill, and they're the best players in the world. You watch Mbappe, he's so fast and he's so big and he's so talented.
My kid says that name all the time. What's his first name? Mugabe?
Kylian.
Killian?
yeah.
Kylian
I don't know.
Mbappe.
He's
He's
He's going to go to Real Madrid right away.
He's a phenomenal talent, and you can watch.
And
like,
he's so young.
he's so young. You could watch that player, and you can really get into soccer by watching that player because he's so good.
He's French, right?
Yeah.
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 So that's the kid. My kid talks about him all
He's
the time.
great.
Well, and it's like also, so like we're talking about what could Chris Knobloch do for his lineups. There's only so much kind of you do. Soccer, you could completely change everything. You could play just 3 defenders with some midfielders and forwards. You can go to then 5 defenders and play almost no forwards and just load up your mid. And like the added strategy that comes into this that the managers control changes the element. There's no 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, and a goalie. It's not broken down like that. It's basically a blank canvas except for goalkeeper.
Yeah.
You've got 10 other positions. Play them as you wish. And you might take a defender and throw him up as a midfielder or forward. You might take somebody who's used to being a forward and they got to play midfield, so different positions even in that. Alphonso Davies with Bayern plays left back. Comes to Canada, he's a forward. Like there's also the versatility of the players that come with it. So there's just all this extra that goes into the game, which makes it beautiful.
I will say.
Oh, good.
So Dusty was at that Portland
Yeah.
Timbers
Yeah.
Seattle Sounders game. I have had the chance to go to a Timbers game, and it's an old ballpark. It's like 100 years old. They had a AAA team in the PCL. They turned it into a soccer stadium, and that atmosphere was amazing when I went. It was a 0-0 draw against New England. Is the game I was at, but
Revolution.
it was fun. The beers were flowing.
Yeah.
The chants were awesome, and yeah, Murray. Like I'm not I don't see the beauty in soccer like Scott and
chess
Maddie
match,
might.
yeah.
Like I can't appreciate it because I played it in high school and all that, but like I had a great time.
Yeah.
And it was, being there, beautiful day, neat stadium, amazing crowd. Of a
How
fresh
many
cold
drinks
one.
did you have?
I only had like 2 or 3 or 4. And it was a great time. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. And that's MLS. And that's not even, these guys are watching much better soccer and better leagues in Europe. But it can be fun.
But even the MLS, I mean, you get like talent versus like talent, so you can get decent games, right? Like you can still get good soccer out of it. You can still get an entertaining matches that are going on because the MLS is starting, right? Like they're just trying to get there. They're not the English Premier League,
And they never will be.
and they exactly. It's just it's not
Never
going to
will be.
happen. They don't, But
It was fun.
this
I had a great
summer
time.
is going to be great for soccer. I mean, with Copa America and
Euro
the
coming up.
Euro coming up, like Canada.
Murray, come out to a patio with us one day when we go watch either Canada
Canada,
play,
yeah.
Copa America, or we'll watch some sort of European.
Scotland, Germany's the opening match for the Euro.
Wow.
I'll wait for the invite.
Enjoy.
Just make sure that wherever the patio is, they have a nice wine list.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure, and
right.
it's one that's also what makes those events so much
Yeah.
fun is that you're just sitting outside in the sun watching soccer, cheering it on, having a great time.
Yeah.
If you're not there, it just adds a little extra. And the last World Cup didn't give us that because it was
No.
winter. It just
Yeah.
wasn't the same. We went to bars, we had a great time, but it still wasn't on the patio watching it. So
It was
there's
weird.
a lot of
Yeah.
great soccer coming up in June that we can cheer for Canada. Okay. So
I would
still-
cheer
I
for
still need
Canada.
my
I would
ticket,
cheer
though.
for Canada. Absolutely.
to the game because I'm going to Atlanta for that opening Canada Messi Argentina, and there's issues between the supporters group of Canada and US and the organizers because they're not giving a supporter. They weren't given a supporter section or something.
So they just want you to sit everywhere.
They
and
weren't
anywhere.
gonna designate an
dumb.
area for supporter section, and that's the thing about soccer
Yeah.
is that there's sections. And like if Oilers Canucks was in Europe, there'd be a section roped off every game for games 3 and 4 for Canucks fans exclusively.
Yeah.
And they would have their tickets to sell, and Canucks fans would sit there, and the Oilers fans would sit everywhere else. And that's what happened. You have your supporters group, and they have their sections, and you buy your tickets there, and they go and they make the noise and they bring the atmosphere. And yeah, they don't have like, and even now the Americans one, I saw they did a full article. Larry Zima, who's a listener nasty, who sent it to me. They're not allowed to bring like flags and stuff or something.
Oh.
They've really botched that.
Why?
One.
Like what? Why? Is this a pretty standard formula. They
know.
have. Like just.
And it's the South Americans that don't have this figured out.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
That's crazy.
this summer I'll convert you, Murray.
that adds.
well,
to
you
the
can
atmosphere.
try.
That adds, like having supporters in their own section adds to the atmosphere because you get like minds all together. It's a little rowdier. It's a little more exciting.
They are going
Yeah.
to bring the noise
Exactly,
specifically,
100%.
and that could go everywhere else. Like that's where we were for Ice Teca
Yeah.
for Mexico, Costa Rica. It was a wonderful
awesome.
time, and I think people around us enjoyed that there was
Yeah.
that section that had the flags going and making noise and bringing it.
I'm just envisioning a section or two in Rogers Place of Vancouver fans in the lower bowl, and then everyone just like chucking their beer onto them from upper decks and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
I just envision that being just a
happens.
gong
Yeah,
show.
that's-
In the European games, they'll have a whole section and they'll have security kind of lining the
yeah.
whole section around them.
So there's no one coming in
So
or
it's
out.
safe. So and they, like at the end of the game, the home fans will leave first. Everybody in the away section just hangs out and waits.
Wow.
Then once they're kind of clear of the concourses and clear of the train stations, then the away team will go and they stay together and they get on the train. Like it's very controlled.
Wow.
But it also brings an amazing atmosphere.
Amazing
When it's done at its
atmosphere.
best, it's an amazing atmosphere that you get. So it just adds to the game.
Do they have fenced off sections in some stadiums?
Some places.
So they took a lot of the fences down.
Okay.
Because there was quite a few incidents of people getting crushed up against fences.
Ah, yeah.
So they took a lot of the fencing away. But you go to South America for sure. There's fences.
Yeah.
I mean, Rangers Celtic games. There's no away fans. They don't allow away fans in. So it's only home. Next year, I think they have about 10%. Is they're going to start integrating some back in.
Wow.
But they just said it's easier to not have away fans in the stadium.
Damn.
I get it. Yeah, because we were talking all the violence at games and things like that a week or two ago on the show, and like, man, I just envision, there's whatever 200 people there. Okay, let's go. Let's bring 500 people, and
Yeah.
we'll just beat the crap out of them. I don't know.
They've done a really good job. There's still violence
Stopping
happens,
that,
but there's
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
fights outside of here. After a
Yeah.
hockey game.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like I mean, that's happening here
There's
too.
fights
but
between Oiler fans
That's
here.
what I mean. So they've done a really good job. I mean, there's no alcohol in the stadiums, right? So you can't buy beer.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
smart.
So they took across like
Yeah.
the UK. You can't buy any beer in there. So
But you can go to the pub outside and just get
100%.
plastered before you go in.
100% you
And then when
can.
you're done, go to the pub and get more plastered.
for sure,
You almost
for sure.
sober up at the game.
Yeah, but yeah, no, they've done a lot of things. It's not like it used to. the ultras, the ultra fans and stuff. A lot of those guys are known. They're kept away from those kind of.
They
games.
write books. I've seen like they do documentaries on the ultras.
Mm-hmm.
There's guys that have written books, and they're like famous for being ultras and
yeah.
like going to jail and.
Well, and even some of the tifos they come out, like when they're like these giant, tarps basically that they'll all organize, and so the entire side of the stadium is covered in like the message that the ultras have put together or the fans have put together. And I mean, they're singing songs. They all know the songs. They all know it's amazing. It's a totally different world.
And it's been built for
Yeah.
decades upon decades of all of this. And they've allowed it to grow and create this. And those messages with those tarps could be amazing.
Yeah.
Some of them could be completely offside, and
For
it causes
sure.
problems. And it's absolutely. I've always wondered how they make those tarps.
I don't know.
That's the thing. I'm like, you see it cover massive amounts
Yeah.
of section. Like, where do you go to get
How do you
this
get
done?
it in?
Yeah.
Who
They allow them in.
Oh,
who
okay.
organizes it? Who gets it done? Who manufactures it? I'm very fascinated how that all happens.
Right.
Because sometimes they could be quick with it and have like this great message of something that happened in the week, and it's magnificent.
It is.
So
Well, the only experience I have maybe close to that is I was in Dallas a number of years ago, went to a Baylor Texas Tech college football game, and all the Baylor fans were on one side, all the Texas Tech fans were on the other side. I just bought tickets. I mean, I didn't care who was playing, or I just wanted to go to a college football game, and so I was in the middle of the Texas Tech side. So we just cheer, and they were teaching us the dances and the shooting the guns, and because they were the Red Raiders, and so learning all the dance. I mean, it was fun. I agree, it was a lot of fun. So I envision what you're describing being similar to that. So I had a lot of fun at that game for sure.
Yeah.
I think
that's
that's
part of
sports
it.
better.
Yeah.
The atmosphere makes sports better.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
absolutely.
sure.
Yeah.
And there's
Absolutely.
got to be a way that we could bring some of that more into North America, but leave the ultras out of it.
Yeah.
We don't need to go to that part.
Yeah, even when the first time we went down to Nashville to see a game years and years ago, and even down there when they were still relatively new, they had like I think it was Cell Block, they call it Cell Block 101 or something. It was
sound good.
It was a high 401. It was like a section, and it was all people that obviously they were season ticket holders.
Yeah.
And they all had the same signs. They were all kind of singing the same songs. They were doing different things during the game, which you just don't see here. Like you don't get any of that here. And some of it was really weird, and some of it didn't make any sense to us coming from Edmonton and walking the game there. But they were all into it, like they were doing the announcement. I don't know if they still do it or not, but they were announcing the away team, and after everybody's name, they'd say "You suck."
They do that at Preds games too.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, do they?
It was Predators
Yeah.
game that we were
Wow.
at. So they were like, and then they'd say that it was Anaheim, and they said the GM, and they're like, and you suck too, to the
coach.
coaches.
Yeah.
It was great, and they used to do fang fingers. I don't know if they still
Fang
do that.
fingers when the opposing team gets a penalty,
Yeah.
and then Crazy Kyle's their keyboard player, and he's just the guy with glasses.
Yeah,
His
like
name's Crazy Kyle.
It's like it's so different than here.
Yeah.
but I mean, it was a great time. It was hilarious. By the end of the
awesome
game, we
time.
were all into it.
Yeah.
Like, it was
That'd be so funny.
pretty fun.
Oilers starting center number 97, Connor McDavid. You suck.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
They're all into it.
That'd be kind of funny.
It's
actually.
super funny.
Yeah.
You have a whole crowd yelling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
It'd be something
suck.
else.
And it's
Yeah.
every game, and it's the routine, and they're into it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Fang fingers.
Fang fingers. Yeah.
I've never heard fang fingers.
Yeah,
And
it was-
you'll see when watch a game that's in Nashville,
Yeah.
you'll see them fans go like this
Yeah.
So what is that for again?
when the opposing team gets a penalty.
Penalty.
Okay.
On the
So
power
the
play.
entire crowd goes
They
like
just
that.
go like
Oh.
this.
Fang
and-
fingers.
I can't wait to
Yeah.
watch the
Yeah.
Oilers press now next year, and I'm going to
Yeah.
wait for the Oilers first
Yeah.
penalty because I just want to watch the crowd.
It was something.
See
It was,
the
a lot,
fang
it was a lot
fingers.
of fun. But at first, we were like, what is going
it's-
on?
it's cool.
It'd be weird, yeah.
Yeah.
What is wrong right now with
Yeah.
all of this?
Yeah. But that stuff adds to it.
Don't you-
If there's somehow you could do that in Edmonton at Rogers to get
There's gotta
people
be something
singing,
or
or
Yeah.
jumping, or
at some
dancing
point.
instead of the.
No fang fingers, though.
No, it's gotta be.
Well,
I mean,
like
They didn't
gotta
find
find
a
a way to
saber-tooth
relate.
tiger underneath the Rogers
Broadway?
place when they built it. Yeah, that's where they got their logo. Is they found like the bones of
Really?
a saber-tooth
Oh,
tiger
really?
underneath Bridgestone Arena when they were excavating it, and that's kind of how it came to be. Then you got fang fingers.
Well, you're a ball of information today.
Ah, yeah. Also, Columbus, the arena was not built on where the old prison was. That's where the parking garage is. There was a rumor when Nationwide Arena opened up that center ice was where the electric chair was. But in reality, the Ohio State prison was where the parking garage was, because they're like, oh, the new arena's haunted because this is where the prison was, and there's so many murderers at the prison. It's like, well, no, that was across the street.
That cannon is
It's
Intense.
obnoxious. Yeah.
it's so loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the All-Star game, it was terrible, Scott.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
brutal.
too
It was
many.
15 goals. You're like, oh, my.
Oh, they did it for every goal.
Yeah,
both
for
sides.
both teams. Yeah, it
Oh
was
my
awful.
goodness.
Who wins Champions League? Real or Dortmund?
I think Real probably.
It's just their DNA.
They,
just
they,
always
they're
get it
just they're,
done.
they're going to win the big game.
They always. Ancelotti won 5
I'm not going to ask us
titles.
that question.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll gladly ask you guys: Real Madrid or Dortmund?
Dortmund,
How was
can't have Dortmund
How was the
win. I don't want
Cardinals
Sancho's
off season
to
this year?
mediocre.
Mediocre. Okay, yeah.
They're going to be
Carlo
meddling this
Ancelotti
year.
will be
Yeah,
the
okay.
next manager of the Canadian men's national team.
Is that good or bad?
It would be amazing, dude.
Yeah.
It's not going to
not
happen.
gonna happen.
Carlo Ancelotti, if he wins this Champions League,
Sounds
which
like
is,
a paisan.
well, he is. He's Italian.
Yeah. Okay.
The Champions League is basically the playoffs of Europe.
That I know.
So, well, I'm explaining for everyone else.
Oh, okay.
No manager has ever won 4. He's the only manager. He was the first manager to win 4. A bunch of people have won 3 or less. If he wins this year, he's going to have 5. So he'll be cleared by 2, history-wise, of most Champions Leagues.
Damn.
He married a Canadian girl quite a few years ago. And he has has said some nice things about Canada. One day, it seemed like a joke, but he commented on wanting to, hey, maybe I'd manage Canada one day. And people like me have ran with that and are not going to let this go.
Yeah, how about now?
Until it was rumored he was going to go to Brazil after this year, but he signed an extension and Brazil and hired someone else. So Canada's still there. And then weirdly enough, as Canada's looking for a new manager, there's a longtime assistant of Carlo Ancelotti. I don't know if you've seen this story,
No.
Paul Clement, where it was written that, and this is a story from England, they would bring Paul in because it's a long-term play by Canada Soccer to bring
Hilarious.
Ancelotti in because they bring in his longtime assistant. Yeah. You would have one of the greatest managers in the history of the game, plain and simple. That's what you would get if you ever had Carlo Ancelotti. Again,
So
never
not gonna
probably going to
happen.
happen. But he made the comment, the door is there, and I will not stop until the 2026 World Cup happens and to see where Ancelotti is.
After listening to this conversation between you two guys for the last half an hour, I'm on board with you two co-managing Canada.
Yes.
I love that.
Sure. Let's do
There
it.
you go.
No problem.
All right.
Problem
Borjan's
solved.
definitely never coming back.
No more sweatpants.
Borjan is definitely done with the national team.
No,
See?
exactly.
You already got the answer. It's perfect.
I can't wait for
Why did he
June
wear
14th.
sweatpants?
Why did he?
Yeah. it was
Well, he did because of the Canadian soccer, the games here.
Yeah,
That's when
I
it
know, but
started.
like-
It's cold, so then it became his thing, so he stuck with it.
Oh, those are awful.
It was like the Jose Theodore toque
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
Heritage
yeah,
Classics.
yeah.
Then every goalie wore the toque at the Heritage
Yeah.
Classics for I don't know how many
Yeah.
straight years. And
Just wear goalie pants and wear long johns underneath or something.
June
Or just
14th,
pull your socks up and wear shorts. Like a normal
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
June 14th Euros, June 20th Copa America,
Boom.
Canada, Argentina. Messi was in Montreal this weekend, and Messi has not scored a goal against the Canadian club.
This is his first time coming to Canada, isn't it?
First time coming to Canada, but he has played TFC,
has played, yeah.
and he's never scored against the Canadian club so far.
Interesting.
So that bodes well for June 20th. Canada's going to contain Messi.
Oh my gosh.
You heard it here.
We're gonna get
here
that laugh says we're gonna go get the win.
Yeah.
We're gonna shock the world
All
on
right.
June 20th in Atlanta.
How about don't get embarrassed in that first one?
Yeah.
One
Modest-
goal loss would be
modest
amazing.
goals.
1-0.
1-0
Yeah, exactly.
loss.
Great.
Heck, even 2-0 I can handle.
Aim low and achieve, right, Scott?
That's it.
Yeah.
Just
Well, but
focus
it's
on the next.
also-
You got to focus on the other
It's the
guys.
goal differential you're
Yeah.
looking at.
I know,
It's
I know.
all goal differential.
Yeah.
And what's the cool bet spread going to be on that game?
Spread, I would have to think Argentina's 1.5 goal favorites.
1.5
I would
goal
think them winning by 2 or more would have to be the play. It's definitely not
For
Canada
sure,
winning.
especially in an opening match of the
Well,
tournament.
The interesting part will be Canada has 2 friendlies prior to that game where they're taking on Netherlands and they're also taking on Mbappe and France.
Wow.
And those countries are preparing for the Euros. They're not just wasting these matches. They need to get prepared for the Euros. So Canada will have a couple of really nice tests before they take on Messi and Argentina. So, but they're going to lose probably. Let's be real.
You're so confident.
Hey, go beat Peru, go beat Chile.
Exactly.
And then we move on. That's what matters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boys, this was a great
That was
hangout
fun.
today. We got some soccer
There
in
we
once
go.
again. I'm very
Perfect.
thrilled.
Love it.
I got to wake up now, though.
Oh.
You need to know these things so you could talk to your son about them.
Yeah.
He talks to me about them.
And now you could
And
have
I-
a
He's
you
on the
could-
right track.
You could talk to him a little bit more. You could come with some stuff
tell
to
him
the
this
table now.
Mbappe or whatever is playing against Canada soon, and he'll be jumping up and down of excitement, and I'll be like, son,
You're gonna have to get him a couple
Gotta
kits.
You're going to need
exactly.
the one soccer so you can watch it. Scott, thanks for coming in. Murray, VIP Golf Show this upcoming Sunday. Josh Clausen is the big guest. I don't
it's
care what
gonna
the
be
other one's
fun.
talking right
Yeah.
now. Just replay the Clausen interview over and over.
It's going to be good. Can't wait.
If you've missed any VIP golf shows, just go to EdmontonSportsTalk.com for more information. Coming up next year on Edmonton Sports Talk, it is the Lock Shop with Huss as they'll recap the weekend. And then Tommy and I have the Oil Stream at noon as we'll further dive into the Oilers' Game 3 loss to the Canucks last night and look ahead to Game 4 tomorrow. Reminder, the GCL deal is the Oil Stream pregame show tomorrow, 6 o'clock right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tommy live. Hudson's, White Ave. Reminder, Birdie Booze now available. Sobe Safeway Liquors or Strathcona Spirits. And Edmonton Singers will be able to catch some of their action throughout their season right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Thank you for tuning in to the EST Hangout presented by Two Hoots. On behalf of Scott, Murray, Tom, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in. Lock Shop starting in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk.
Let's go.
There you go, right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with here. Joining us today